It being 5:00 p.m., the Lafourche Parish Council meeting of April 10th, 2018 is hereby called to order. Ms. Carleen, could you call roll?
Mr. Jones. Ms. Posito.
Here.
Mr. Grow. Mr. Melvin. Mr. Bourgeois.
Here.
Mr. Perilou. Mr. Otin. Mr. Lafont. Mr. Lorraine.
Here.
And Mr. Cantrell.
Councilman Jerry Lafont will lead us in the invocation, and Councilman Grow will lead us in the pledge.
If y'all bow your head, and we're going to do the Lord's Prayer, but first, let's please bless all our soldiers and all our armed force people that protect us every day and give us the right to do what we do in the United States every day, and bless them and their families. Amen. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come.
Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
A, approval of the minutes. Can I get a motion to defer items 1 through 5 until April 24th meeting? Moved by Bourgeois, second by Otin. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. B, presentation and/or updates. Number 6, Ms. Annette Fontana, Clerk of Court, to discuss polling locations. She has to defer until when, Ms. Carleen?
Give it a date.
Okay. She'll just,
Get back with it.
okay, she'll get back in with the administration. Mr. Jimmy, had she given you all a date to when? Oh, Kelly? Okay, so it's deferred to April 24th. Thank you, Kelly. Number 7, Mr. Archie Chasson III, Board Chairman of the Central Lafourche Ambulance Service District, to present an annual report. Hello, Archie.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for the opportunity to come and do our annual report. I'm going to move through this pretty quick. I know you guys have a lengthy agenda. For those of you who aren't familiar with our district, we encompass Highway 1s and 308 from Lafourche Crossing all the way down to the Intercoastal, including Bayou Blue and des Allemands. Our main charge
Excuse me, Archie, will you please just state your name and address for the record, please?
Archie Chasson, 4876 Highway 1, Raceland. We do cover Bayou Blue and Raceland. Our main charge is to provide ambulatory care. It's a little bit different than what they do in South Lafourche. We don't own and operate our own ambulances. We took the option to contract it out to Acadian. So we have a yearly contract with them to provide those services. The tax dollars that we collect go toward having 2 24-hour ambulances to our district at all times. That provides a great deal of care, so you're not waiting on an ambulance or anything like that. I handed out the packets a little bit before. It's basically a list of response times and number of calls from Acadian for the district for the last 2 years. And as you see, they have a pretty good response time, so if, God forbid, any of us actually need that care, we know it's around and can be done. The last page of the packet is actually our financial statements for the last year. We're one of the few districts, probably in Lafourche Parish, that roll back our millages every year. We only collect the full 8 mills once every 4 years, just so we don't lose it. But every year after that, we roll it back to 2 mills, which basically allows us to collect just enough to pay the balance bill for Acadian, plus have a little extra in case something comes up, along with our recurring expenses, such as auditors and accountants and stuff like that. So with that, if you guys have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer.
Any questions, Mr. Lorraine?
Yeah, Archie, I think there's a problem. You said that from the services from the central part of the parish to the Intercoastal Canal, the section on the other side of the Intercoastal Canal is in Acadia's territory, the Dresser Canal.
The Dresser Canal, yeah. I apologize. I figured you'd find something to correct me on.
No, because it's a forgotten area, to be honest with you. And I think, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think all these years, if you look at South Lafourche Ambulance District 1, Go see all the assets we have. We pay a property tax. We getting ready to cut a ribbon Monday on a new building. They have buku ambulances. They have real good response time. We got one at Fouchon. Throughout the whole area, we covered. But we hire people from the area. What gets me about this, I'm not telling you Katy it's a good service, but all your money is leaving here and going to Lafayette. So just think if all the years you'd have built something up there like what we have in South Lafourche, you'd quit giving, you'd invest your money. You'd have more people hired. I mean, you just said 2 ambulances take care of all that? Come on. But it's just a thought.
Yeah.
Maybe in the future you can maybe look at it. I'm just giving you a hint.
And every now and then I do have a conversation with Major Dean Savoy, and that topic comes up about either combining the districts or doing something different. The board years ago, this board's been around since the late 80s. I've been on the board for about 5 or 6 years, 7 years now. And they chose to contract the service years ago, and it's been working great. So we've always kept with that.
I understand, they're contracting it out, that's fine. But what I'm trying to say, nothing's staying here. Very little, if any. It's going to Lafayette, to the main headquarters. Go see how many jobs that we have at Lafourche Ambulance 1. Go see how many buildings they own. It's a bunch.
And I'd venture to guess out of the 14, 15 employees that Acadian serves, probably all but none of them are local. These ambulances are here, these guys are eating lunch here and spending their tax dollars here. So while I would agree that the $400,000 we pay them every year is going to the guys in Lafayette, I think the economic impact of this area far reaches that.
You're sending it to Lafayette.
Mr. Parlow.
Hey, Archie, thank you for being here.
Yes, sir.
I have a quick question. I received a call from a couple of people. I don't know if it was in concert or not, but it was pretty close together. Does the ambulance district have a cooperative endeavor agreement with the fire department?
We're currently working on that. I had a conversation with Councilman Otan a few months ago. The board, we actually have a board meeting on Monday, so if any of you guys are interested and want to come, feel free. What we're going to start to do is that we appreciate that those volunteer fire departments come out anytime there's a medical call, 95% of the time, if not all of them. And they're using supplies off of their trucks to supplement what Acadian does, either before or after Acadian arrives. So we've, as a board, made the decision that we're going to first look at the BP settlement dollars we got, because
You still have some?
we still have some. So what we're going to do this first year is basically divide that by 3 and give Race and Lockport and Gaines an equal share of that to supplement what they have on their rescue trucks, and then look at some type of recurring program where we can do that every year. We've checked with the DA and our auditors, and everything seems to be kosher on that. So we're actively working on that.
Okay, and just to get everyone up to speed, that question involved people that were concerned that the tax-supported fire departments were sending manpower out to help the ambulance service. They deemed on every call, like if the ambulance people couldn't handle the weight of somebody that had to load in the truck or something, the firemen were kind of on the hook for helping get that done, and they were concerned that the fire department wasn't getting any
Anything in return?
fees or anything like that for their service and time, and equipment usage and things like that. So, thank you.
Mr. Otan.
Yeah, thank you, Cora. Those are some pretty accurate comments. But it's not only Acadian, it's also the coroner's office, PD. So we also provide assistance in a lot of other scenarios. I think that the challenge we have sometimes is that our tax call specifically says for firefighting services. So we have to be careful on where we overlap into medical and where we spend funding. But I will say that Acadian is, not only Acadian, but District 3 also, because we overlap. You know, where I'm at, sometimes they stop if they're passing by, we get assistance and vice versa. So we kind of all work together. But they do pretty faithfully restock whatever we do use out of our stock. So, but it's a pretty good relationship. And certainly AirMed is you know, it's exceptional having AirMed. And for those who don't know, AirMed started about, I guess, maybe less than a year ago. They no longer just have that paramedic on the helicopter, they also have a nurse. So I can tell you when you're on scene with multiple patients and fatalities and flipped vehicles, and it's nice to see AirMed pulling up knowing they have a paramedic and a nurse on scene. So I do appreciate what Acadian does.
And Archie, for the real serious question, did I scare you the other day when I blew the horn at you when you were on the road? All right,
You did.
good.
I feel like the best-known person in Thibodeau when I'm on the side of the road trying to fix a water
Yeah,
line, so.
I figured that. I figured I was one of many horn blowing.
Ms. Chairwoman.
Oh, Mr. Jones.
Yeah, thank you for reminding, while I see Mr. Archer here, I want to thank you for getting with me and get with James Bourne on that west side drainage project to get that completed and get it did, so.
You want me to sit back down and come back up with my city hat on first, or you just?
Well, no, just come back in 2020. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. C, legal advisor report. None. D, public wishing to address the council. Ms. Carleen?
Mr. Bob Dewey, if you'd approach the podium, Mr. Dewey, state your name and address for the record. Please remember you have 3 minutes.
My name is Bob Dewey. I'm at 798 Tranquility Lane in Cutoff, Louisiana. I have 2 points to make. Basically, one, at the end of next month, early June, Raceland Manor Nursing Home will be closing its doors. We will be moving all of our residents to the new facility, and thanks to the council that made that happen, we purchased the old South Lafourche Nursing Home, and we will be reopening South Lafourche Nursing and Rehabilitation Center, possibly the first week in June, and we'll be basically transferring our residents to that area. And I want to thank the residents of, all the residents of Raceland and Central Lafourche for their unconditional support during the last 24 years. Feasibility, financially, we had to make a move, and we had planned on building the new facility in the area, but when South Lafourche facility moved to the central part, we decided to occupy that vacated spot. And we renovated the facility, and we'll be having a grand opening, and I hope you can all attend. It's going to be a very, very nice facility. We'll have 102 beds. As you know, there's a moratorium on nursing beds, so therefore we can only close one facility if we open another. One has to close. So that's the reason we're closing Raceland Manor. Also, I'd like to ask the council, would y'all be willing to accept the Raceland Manor nursing home and its properties as an act of donation from the Louisiana Healthcare Consultants?
I'm sure you must have asked that to Mr. Jimmy, right? I think that would be his.
Yes, yes.
Mr. Jimmy, did you have anything to say to that?
I think it's a good idea, and it's nice property, and I think we can look at doing something with it. If not, you know, it's a lot of things we could do with just using the lot, you know. So I think it's up to the council if they want to accept it, but I think I see nothing wrong with it. But
Did you have a plan as to what to use it on?
not right now.
Okay, I was just wondering if you had an idea.
No.
The facility is about a 30,000 square foot facility. It has 3 basic units to it. So you have an entrance and an exit on 3 possible different buildings.
And the buildings are still in relatively good shape?
Yes, yes.
I guess the only thing I would be worried about is if the building had to come down, if there were any asbestos or something like that to deal with. But I think that's a great idea. Councilman Grow?
I had talked to Mr. Bob in the past and members of administration, being at a central location, if we could possibly use it for the, in moving the morgue. You know,
Coroner's
so,
office.
yeah, coroner's office. And so I don't know, they do have refrigeration, being that they, you know, they have stuff in the back. So I don't know if that's an option. I don't know if we want to just take something without a reason to take it, you know, because of upkeep. But if we could use it for that, that might not be a bad idea, being a location.
Mr. Lasang, are you waving over there? I can't see your light, so you have to wave to me.
Oh, okay, I'd spoken with Mr. Goldman, and we discussed, they wanted to stay in Central. We had alternate locations, but they really wanted to be in Central Lafourche. And when this came available, I talked with Councilman Grow and Mr. Cantrell, spoke with them, and I think an active donation would serve us well because it's a large facility that could be used for other things too, maybe some community services things or something like that. And it is separate buildings, sort of separate buildings where we could use it. And asbestos is obviously a concern in any old building, but something to be addressed when you're getting it for nothing. It's not like we pay property tax and everything like that, somebody private.
Yeah, I think it's great. I just think we still need to maybe have somebody look at it before it becomes our baby to rock. So, but great. I think we could do something with it if the building works out. Anyone else? Thank you, Mr. Dubé.
Thank you all so much.
Mr. Ty Revet, if you'd approach the podium. Mr. Revet, state your name and address for the record. Please remember you have 3 minutes. That's my last one.
Thank you.
My name is Ty Revet. I live at 8544 Highway 1 in Lockport. The reason to speak to you guys, this is not scripted, but the first thing is a while ago your legal counsel was not here. I think that's one of the problems you guys need to individually look at because you should not be operating without legal advisors here. And then the next problem you have is your legal advisor actually can persecute you, so you've got a conflict that's written into the home charter that needs to be fixed. That is wrong. And the reason it needs to be fixed is I've done a fairly poor job of trying to get this parish to recognize gates blocking waterways with no permits. It's an ordinance Mr. Lorraine wrote, and we've gotten it to the council, and it's died at the district attorney level, and mainly it's with less than honest opinions that are being generated and misleading statements. So to try to get a different route to seek help to work through these issues that I have is I'd like to use this time to ask you guys to investigate gates that are blocking waterways. I suggest the first 2 steps are to ask the Sheriff Water Patrol to go out and find these gates, get their GPS coordinates, ask Coastal Zone Management and the Corps of Engineers to provide the permits for those gates. And then we can find out if the parish has approved these gates or not. I think that's the simplest thing to do, pretty straightforward. Then obviously we need to get with the North Lafourche Levee District to see if they're in the drainage district because a different set of laws apply for those drainage ditches, canals, whatever. Probably need to get the assessor involved, see where they are on the tax rolls, definitions of all that stuff. Probably need to look outside Lafourche, Terrebonne, and Jefferson because the map I just gave you is a map of the Barataria Lafourche waterway in the early 1900s. And if you guys think that a canal was built from New Orleans with a lock on it all the way to Morgan City and didn't use eminent domain and a couple of other real legal terms, you're probably mistaken. I'd also note that the only non-navigable or blocked portion of this whole canal sits in Gaines, Louisiana. My problem is I own Batcher property in Lockport and I own Batcher property in St. Charles Parish, and I would like to use that canal to go from my home to my camp. Okay, so I'm a little selfish on this one, but this blocking is caused issues, and I'd like your help, specifically Mr. Perilou, since it's in your district, and Mr. Lorraine, since you wrote the ordinance, to help facilitate acquiring this data and seeing what's going on, because once we get those few data points, I think the rest of it will come to light.
I need to ask one question. You said you received less than honest or misleading opinions.
Yes,
Are you
ma'am.
talking about opinions from the district attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
So this has already been brought to the district attorney and an opinion has been given? This is the company canal, I'm guessing, right?
This is Company Canal and Bayou Vacherie.
Okay, so has it gone to the district attorney and they've already issued an opinion?
He has
Is that what
issued
you're
an
saying?
opinion. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. And I'm more than willing, after studying his opinion, to go toe-to-toe with him. Specifically, you guys have been told that if,
Yeah, has it gone to a higher court, someone mentioned? Has it?
I'll get to that if you want.
Okay.
But
Because after
basically.
it goes to that
well,
point,
the
I'm not
first question
sure.
is, has he given you misleading information? Okay, can I answer that one? First data point that, Mr. Lorraine, do you remember you were told at the council meeting probably 5 years ago regarding if, any gates and gains had to be pulled out? I mean, you were quoted in the newspaper, so,
According to ordinance 1931, council has to report it to the sheriff's office. And they
Okay.
have to go check it out, and if there's no permits, they should get the pilings to come out.
okay. But you were told, excuse me, but, that it would be, significant, litigation at the cost of the council if you had ordered the gates to pull it out. Is that a factual statement?
I don't exactly remember it, I mean,
No,
5
it's
years
5 years ago, I'm just, I ran across.
I
it the
don't
other-
forget too much, but that one's a little, you know. I think there's a federal and a state law as we speak that you shouldn't be able, you can't block navigable waterways. What's so hard about that? There's all kind of navigable waterways that are blocked. We're talking about waterways,
Correct.
and there are buku many of them, natural water that are blocked. There's some that could possibly be blocked, but there's a lot that are blocked that shouldn't be blocked.
Well,
That's
in this-
just my opinion.
Okay, but in this particular incident.
But we'll take this one, we can
No,
take
no,
this one
I
step
think,
at a time.
honestly, I think we need to do the first steps, and we may be covering the same ground, okay? But, I've got some information that we picked up not that long ago that, makes me feel a little more confident coming in and saying a few of these things. All right, but, you know, litigation was talked about. I can promise you that, I've got a letter that, written to the Gaines Foundation, Mr. Sanak, and their lawyers, and Mr. Sanak went pull a gate out of Biovasher at his expense. There is no litigation involved, it's a permit, just like your driver's license, okay? If you don't adhere to the rules, you can be told to pull it out at your expense. All right, next thing, specific to the permit that blocks Company Canal, you were told that it wasn't his fault that Vince Melvin signed the letter from Coastal Zone Management allowing the Corps of Engineers to approve the permit. That's incorrect. The permit was issued before they even sent the letter to Vince Melvin asking for an opinion. The permit specifically says this is outside of Coastal Zone's area, so Coastal Zone approval is not needed. The only approval needed is from the council, which has never been given. I'm trying to get it in front of the council to have a public meeting to discuss this, to follow the rules. And as far as the Supreme Court, you were told that the Supreme Court gave title to the Company Canal. That's incorrect. If you read the decision, it says the matter of title is not before us because the title was stipulated to by the lawyers in the initial filing. So that was agreed upon by the lawyers. So PIRA basically had a mistake on their legal side. Okay? So that answers those questions. But I really am asking specifically Mr. Perlew and Mr. Lorraine to help get the sheriff out there, find these gates, find out if we do have permits for them. If they do and they're legal, hey, so be it.
Mr. Parley?
Yeah, thank you for being here, Mr. Rivette. I think the first step that we would have to look at is prior decisions. From what I remember hearing, the State Attorney General was involved with some type of research on this as far as land ownership and stuff like that.
Correct.
I think, as a council, I don't think we can do much about it, but we can go to the DA's office and kind of circle around again and ask them where we stand on this and maybe to put
Okay.
some fresh eyes on it and look
Yeah,
at it again.
There was a box of information delivered to the Attorney General's office. A letter was written pretty quick. The response to the Attorney General in writing was he was a liar. Okay? That was the response.
That who was a liar?
The Attorney General.
The Attorney General?
The Attorney
Is that the
General
liar?
was called a liar by,
Oh.
not me, somebody else,
Okay.
in a letter as a response to the letter. Okay?
Okay.
That's what happened.
But just so you know, I mean, we're bound by what the DA tells us we can and can't do. So I'll go and help you out and see if we can get some answers.
Okay.
But at the same time, I mean, we're a land of laws and stuff, and if the DA and AG's office is telling us there's nothing that can be done, I just want, just be prepared, just in case it doesn't work out for you, that's all I'm
Oh,
saying.
no, look, guys, this issue will not go away. The public record is there. If you do the research, you can find out what's going on. Like I said, it's not confrontational. I need your help.
Mr. Grow?
I was just gonna mention there's a new Attorney General since then and DA, so you may want to kind of go that route. And I know today, there was House Bill, I think 391, which is similar to this, Bayou Black Marina, they've been all over this, about kind of blocking people out of navigable waters, so you may want to follow that too. It passed 5-3 today to move on, so.
I heard about it.
And I'll follow up with, build on what Councilman Gross said. If you have new information that maybe you'd want to get with the DA, possibly that would
In
change their
fact,
opinion?
part of the plan, what I was hoping to accomplish today is have Mr. Perilou get the coordinates to these gates, get the coastal zone management permits, and go to the district attorney and say, what gives? Right? I'm not reinventing. I mean, if this is where the gate is at. It has no parish permit, so I would imagine it's outside the law. Right? What do we need to do? Is it grandfathered in? Was the gate put in after the ordinance was passed? Like I said, that's where I want to start at.
Okay. Anyone else?
I got something.
Oh, Mr.
I
LaFont?
think, Mr. Reed, thank you for coming. I think might be a good time now. We got a new district attorney, and I think we have a new attorney general since all that went down
Correct.
also, right? So it might be a good time to refresh and get some, new answers. They might come up with a different ruling.
Correct.
Especially
That's
today
why I'm
after, after, House Bill with 391. Well, it just passed committee. It didn't go in front of the House yet, but,
I can't wait to meet Ms. Russell and discuss it. But like I said, let's you guys grab the information, all right? That way I haven't manufactured it, give it to the district attorney and say, what gives? It's pretty simple. You can't hide from that. I mean,
I'd be
you
glad
either
to
have a
facilitate
permit
that.
or you don't, is what I'm getting at.
I'd be glad to facilitate that request and, see where,
right.
see where they go with it.
No, I agree. That's what I'm saying. I'm just looking for some help.
Okay.
Okay. No one else?
Guys,
Thank
thank you
you.
for your time. I really appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you. E, engineers, architects report. Reports, any engineers here today? None?
Madam Chairman, can we deviate
Sir.
from the agenda and go to number 54 and 55?
Okay, this is one thing that, Mr. Lasang had already asked me about this, but we won't be deviating from the agenda too often in the future. The meetings get convoluted, they're all over the place, it's hard to keep up, so I'll go ahead and do it today, if I can get a second. Second from Bourgeois, but we won't be doing it too often unless someone's bleeding. Mr. Barnes. Is that number,
54, 55.
you said 54 and 55, right?
Well, let
Oh.
me just say why. The reason why is because we have some very important votes on ordinances and resolution to do, and we need to get a presentation prior to them discussing the ordinances and resolution.
That's why I'm going to allow it today.
And I appreciate it.
Okay, all in favor?
All right.
Any opposed? 9-0. Mr. Barnes?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. First thing is, I'd like to clarify one matter. It's on the purchase of culverts. We do a parish public bid for the culverts. The reason for that is we have a $30,000 limit. This is not state bid like trucks or anything of that nature. If we don't do a yearly culvert, public bid, then when we spend our $30,000, we done for the year. And this is something that, we've done for a little while. Hold on a minute, this is the wrong presentation. This here is my drive, 200 mile drive in District 5. If you notice the date on that, that's 2014. This is a parish outfall ditch with a parish right of way on both sides of it. We did 2 catch basins, or the parish did 2 catch basins, and roughly 50 feet of pipe, or 60 feet of pipe. They had to cut one piece in half, and they had to build a conflict box right at, you see that pipe sticking out right there? As of today, I have not been able to find a work order on this. The Raceland field office clerk just happened to have these pictures of when it was done in 2014. This is the same ditch with the parish equipment and all working, furnishing the dirt, furnishing the culverts, building the catch basins at no cost to the landowner or whatever. It's I was trying to find if you look at the bank right there toward the end of the culvert, toward the corner, that bank, it's what you call it's a real sandy soil, and the ditch keeps getting deeper and deeper, and every time we sweep it out of whatever, the bank caves in just a little bit more and a little bit more. So this is really, this is not a landscape culvert. Is to prevent the maintenance on this outfall canal from keep caving in and keep getting wider. And like I say, I have a copy of the plaque of this subdivision. It both sides is a parish right of way, and that corner right there has probably got it's a real sandy type soil, so it just keeps caving in. So when we Mr. Ray Ordon approached the council last year about extending this project. I believe he had spoke to everybody, and it needed to be took care of. And like I say again, this is not no parish, not no landscape coverage. This here is a preventive drainage problem from caving in. So I sent Gary Washington out there the next day. He met with the field office supervisor, and we did a work order to do the other part of it. This here is Lake Howard on the 40 Orphan Road, Abbey Road. It was a much needed job. Parish bought the culverts, we engineered it, and had a contractor to put it in. Diplomat Way, it's 400 feet You double that, that's 800 feet of 84-inch pipe. Then again, it was erosion. And this one particular area, the parish bought the culverts. And the reason why I'm mentioning some of this, if you start buying these size of culverts, you will eat up $30,000 real quick, real quick. Then the rest of the parish will suffer the rest of the year. So, it was implemented to go out for just public bid, not state bid, public bid, to where the auditors, they would have a field day with us at the end of the year. We hauled the dirt, we installed the culverts. This is Louise Street. This is a in-house project of 72-inch pipe. Then again, we installed the culverts and we hauled the dirt in the catch basins. Then again, much needed project. But you go to buying that much pipe, you couldn't even start the job for $30,000. This is 1,260 feet of pipe on Eau Claire ditch that was 72-inch culverts. And when I come on board as the director, we met with the engineer. It's another section, correct me if I'm wrong on this, Jerry. We went to a concrete ditch rather than a culvert ditch. Am I right, Jerry?
Yes, you're right, Mr. Bourne, but you need to also tell the people the reason why these projects were dead. Looked like this was a rehearsal dinner, this video here. But the reason why is that these houses and thing was collapsing and going into the canal.
Oh, yes.
So
Yeah,
let's be sure and let's say that.
all I thought I did, I said a much-needed project. Is that not what I said?
Yeah, you said a much needed project, but let's tell them the reason why. Because
Yes.
I can see where this going at.
Well, you see how close it is to the fence? And you see how large the ditch is? And then again, like I said, it was a much-needed project. Shelby Estates, 240 feet of 36-inch pipe. School Lane, that was 100 feet of 72-inch culverts, and a 5x8 catch basin.
Mr. Barnes, that's in my district. That wasn't done since this administration,
No,
though,
ma'am.
right?
No,
I'm
ma'am.
noticing a couple of them weren't done with this administration, but go ahead and continue.
Yes, a lot of them was not done in this administration. That's not where I'm going.
Okay, no, I'm just asking.
Yeah.
For the record.
This is. And then we come to East 28th Street. I run across these pictures here that the operator took, digging up that landscape culvert. And if you look at the pipe, it's got an outside shell and an inside shell. So we started removing the pipe, and the landowner said he couldn't afford to put it back in. I still don't think that solved the problem 100%. We found some more problems in other areas. But this pipe here was not in the best of health. This is a few projects in District 8, and a lot of these was before Mr. Jerry Lafont's time. The one on West 11th. By doing that job right there, that saved the parish, around $3.5 million. This is the council meeting video of Mr. Ray Ordon addressing the council.
Since November last year, sickness, different things, always something comes up. But I made up my mind tonight. It's like a wedding night. And so here we are. And my presentation tonight, sir, is I'm looking for some help. I have an erosion problem on my property. I don't live close to the coast. I live right in the middle of Via Blue. It's the highest part of Via Blue. I came here 2 years ago, and the council really did listen to me, and the next morning, there was two gentlemen on the outside taking pictures. 2 weeks later, they had put a Band-Aid. You know when you cut your finger, put a Band-Aid on it? Well, the parish sent some people out there, and they put a Band-Aid on that erosion. But you know, a Band-Aid is only a substitute for the skin. And so, I'm here tonight, I need some help. I'm not looking for manual labor, nothing. If I could do it myself, I would. I'm too old. First thing, I couldn't get a permit to do what I want to do, but that's besides the point. But I would like, the help that I'm looking for is from you gentlemen and two lovely ladies here. I need somebody to come out there and look at this problem. You know, when they gave the servitude for the parish to pass this drain here, there's 29 different houses that drain in that ditch. When it was dug, it was exactly the width of this podium here. I can't reach across that volume, I call it a volume, because all the water from that subdivision drains into this ditch. 29 different houses drain in there. The water comes up to the top of the drain. I could stand in it. You can't see my head. But it used to be this wide, and it was about this deep. But through the years, this thing has eroded, and I'm guessing I didn't measure it because I can't reach across that ditch. But I'm saying that ditch is about 12 to 15 feet wide now. And if I could get two people, it don't have to be any one of you, just somebody that knows what they're looking at. Of the erosion, that I would invite any one of you, that some of you might be a little larger than others, come lay down in where it's getting ready to fall in the ditch right now. You can lay down in there and don't touch it. It's big, it's getting big. And so what I'm looking for is two people. Come out there, look at this thing, take pictures and see what can be done to stop it. I'm not looking for 180 feet long drain. I'm not looking for, what do you call it, when you drive the pilings in the ground and build something. You know, if you're living in the parish, the Lafourche Parish is the richest parish around here. But you can't drive a stake in the ground because it might interfere with somebody. I have a neighbor that's about 250 feet this way. I have a neighbor on that side that's only about 40, 50 feet. And they just moved in. And they don't know anything about this drainage yet, but they're going to find out. The parish sends people to cut the grass that's taller than me in that ditch twice a year. It's not their fault. It's just the way that things are done. So, again, I'm asking for the help here. Send somebody. That's what I'm looking for. You got to have something to start. You got to have a plan. on Hopkins, a Band-Aid does not do the job. That Band-Aid will fall off after a while, and that's what happened. The parish took care of something, but it didn't last. So if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them. That's my plea tonight. Send somebody.
Mr. O'Donnell, before you leave, please I want you to give your name and address to our DPW director, Mr. James Barnes over there.
All right?
I wouldn't doubt that he'd be over there first thing in the morning to help you out, sir.
All right, sir, I appreciate
Mr. Melvin?
that.
Mr. Arnold, thank you for coming. Thank you for making it 90. And I had a similar situation, I know Mr. James is going to talk to you about, but I'm assuming continual digging, ditch fluffs in, maybe you lost a little land here or there, just whatnot. It just continues to fluff. So I just dealt with that. And Mr. James, we only did send one, we got Mr. James.
Okay, one other thing that I failed to mention. This happens to be the drainage from the other street. About, I'm guessing here, 600-700 feet from that. It comes down there and goes under the street here. And when it gets on this over here, it's a corner. And that water's coming down there at Whitecaps when it's a heavy rain. So when the water comes to this corner, what happens? It don't have any place to go except, and then it's terrifically important to understand that water is traveling at a high speed trying to get to the canal that's in the drainage back here. It's a good plan, but you've got to put something in this corner. They put a cover with a joint in it. And you know what happened? There was a gas, no, I gotta take that, there was a pipe in that ditch that somebody had used when there was a rig back in the back years ago. And the parish would not allow nobody to drill a hole in there to see if there was anything. They couldn't cut it. So what they did, they built a monument over this pipe, drilled through the cinder blocks on both sides, and built a grill on top of it. And so it worked. But you can't stop the water from going because it's open. And that's the only corner, that's the only ditch. I'm calling it a ditch. I'd like to call it something else. But anyhow, it's the only corner in that subdivision that the water goes through and eats the land up. So there's got to be a reason, there's got to be a way to stop it. I'm not, don't plug it for sure. All right, sir, if I have any other questions, I'll be glad to answer.
All right, sir. Thank you for coming in and address the council, and take it easy on them pain pills. I don't think you needed to take that.
And by the way, sir, I appreciate the fact that you called me an elderly.
Yeah.
I'm 90 years old, so I'm still kicking pretty good.
You're looking fine, too.
The two ladies invited to come look at the ditch.
Going tomorrow. Mr. Barnes, you have more?
Yeah, yes. Oh, are we on?
Is there more, or what are you waiting on something?
My regular presentation.
Oh, who's setting that up? In back of you? Okay.
In District 1 and 2, Lord Lafourche come in there and helped us with a marsh buggy to sweep in the canal at the pump station, at the Layton pump station. The A-Bear ditch, sweeping the ditch before and after. Coteau, is that Coteau Lane, cleaning the culverts and catch basins. Rodrigue Pump Station number 8, sweeping out the ditch before and after. This is Lejeune Pump Station refurbishing the entire station. And, we tore down the building and pulled the pump out. This is, Mark Lane sweeping the ditches. Still on Mark Lane. Movant Lane, sweeping the outfall ditch before and after. Before and after again. Oh, let me back up. Sawmill Lane, sweeping the ditches. Phillips Canal, sweeping the canal from Movant to Welcome Pump Station. Abigail Ditch, starting phase 2. We have just a little bit more rip wrap to go back and finish up, and this project could be completed. It was, something that was well needed. A lot of people on the right-hand side had built on the right-of-way, and we come before the council and got another right-of-way from the farmer and the people living on the left, where we could kind of clean this up and we put a little riprap in the bottom of it. Landmark Drive, cleaning and digging the drainage ditch in the back of Landmark subdivision. Wilson Street, cleaning the ditches before and after. Lafourche bypass. I see, maybe it looks like it's stuck halfway. There it goes. On Water Plant Road, replacing the damaged guardrail. Y'all can see on your left how it had eroded. We repaired that. We drove some, you see the top of the sheep pilings, we drove some sheep pilings and repaired that cave-in by the, on that, behind that guardrail. Country Club ditch, grass cut on the main drainage ditch off of the Country Club. Adam Street, trimmed the tree branches that was obstructing the view of a stop sign. Keno Drive, outfall, cleaning the outfall before and after. Alidor Sewer Plant ditch, cleaning the ditch before and after. Let me back up. You see the cone in the road right there? That covered it, corroded and fell in under the road, and we had to replace a damaged covered under the road. On Lewistown, repaired a cave-in. Hamilton Street Bridge, we did the repairs in-house. And we was fortunate enough to get the load limit up to 10 to 15 tons, and we plan to do 2 more repairs on the bridge that should increase it to 25 tons. That's after we put a new brace under the bridge and refloored that in. Kenny Chesney outfall ditch, digging the new outfall. Providence outfall, sweeping the outfall. East 151 Street, digging the roadside ditches. Byron Chermy outfall, digging outfalls before and after. East 149, digging the outfall ditch. 167, digging the outfall to 3235. West 138, clearing the trees to dig the outfall ditch. 217, this is the ditch. It's real close to the road. I don't know if you can see it real good, but the edge of the road is starting to cave in. It's real narrow right there.
Mr. Barnes, I hate to stop you, but am I seeing speed hump?
Yes, ma'am. Right there at that driveway.
So when that road gets, is that a dead end? Is that road a dead end? Do you know?
Daniel, does it go all the way through?
The road connects 32, 35, but what happened, whenever it was built, it's only about 8 feet right there, 9 feet the most. Then it falls about, I guess about 700 feet, it falls into about a 20-foot street. Why they have it so narrow, I don't know. That was before my time.
Yeah, it almost looks like my boat launch street, so, okay.
Okay,
I mean, I need one of those though, by the way.
okay.
Because my street is about 8 feet wide and has huge 22 foot long boats riding up and down it. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
That's all right. That's the end. Thank y'all.
Mr. Jones.
Yeah, Mr. Bourne, on the second presentation was really what Public Works is supposed to be doing. Can you give me the reason why you did the first presentation?
Well, I was trying to demonstrate the reason for the public bids of the $30,000 and how fast that little bit of money could evaporate. And that's the reason why we use put out covers for bid for a year. There's no ceiling on it. And we put it out to different vendors.
That's what you put out for bids per year. But these were projects that were dead in District 1. So that wasn't included. You got a price for culvert, but these projects were dead on a priority base on different phases with a project number. And the difference between the projects in different District 1 and what's the street with the veteran was on? Maya. Can you tell me the difference between those two streets?
Well, they both outfall canals, and the parish did work on both of them.
They both are outfall canals. One of them where the houses were falling in the canal. Am I right or wrong?
Yes, sir.
All right. And then on Miles Street, you had 240 feet on one side, 50 feet on the other side. So I don't see where that would be compatible for showing District 1 up here on Louise Street and Euclid. And we both know, and the majority of us up here knows that those houses were falling in the canal. So the parish responsibility was to repair that. Am I right or wrong?
You're right.
Okay. So that was no reason why the first presentation should have been dead.
Well, if you remember correctly, when we went to do the phase for the second part, Don Mathern, myself, and you met with Heather Kleeman, and we come up with the concrete ditch.
That's correct.
Because it was cheaper than culverts.
You're correct.
And that was because it was so close to the houses and the fences.
And the canal was eaten up underneath the people's homes. Am I right?
That's correct.
Okay. So I still see no reason why that first presentation was compatible to Omar Street. It looked like it was a setup. And I've been knowing you for a while now, and I know what type of work and what you're capable of doing. But I can tell you this wasn't your ideal.
Anyone else? Yeah, Mr. Barnes, I guess I'm just wondering also why a project from 2014 is if there was a point to the memory lane projects, like 2014's project in my district specifically, what was the reason for?
The 2014 is on the same ditch, with the 2 catch basins that the parish did with no expense to the landowner and hauled the dirt in there because it's an outfall ditch. This is not landscape culverts. It's because the bank keeps eroding away. So I went back and I tried to find a work order on this project. The clerk out of the Raceland office searched and searched. Miss Debbie Foray searched, Marie searched. There was no work order done that we can find. But I'm just saying, that work got done for Mr. Ordorn in 14, but never got finished. So when he come back to this council to see if he could get his project finished. It's a parish outfall ditch, and it's not landscape covered, it's a parish ditch.
Okay, Councilman Perillo?
Okay, yeah, thank you for the presentation. I'm a little confused as why it was relevant to show that video of the man asking for help. And then you're saying now that it's a public outfall canal that we actually did the work on to satisfy his needs, correct?
Yes, sir.
Why did we sell the man culverts if it was a parish right-of-way? Isn't this the project that the parish sold culverts at the parish prices that we get on the bid process?
Yes.
So if this is a public outfall, a parish outfall canal, why do we take this man's money?
Well, I think he should be reimbursed, but it's not my call. I have to get with Mr. Jimmy and see if he agrees.
I hope you do, because that doesn't pass a smell test for me.
Right.
Also, where's this Kenny Chesney ditch? I'm just playing. You said Chesney when you said that.
Okay.
It was funny. Thanks.
Mr. Barnes, I'm looking at the letter that's written to Mr. Ordon. It says, as per your conversation with Parish President Cantrell regarding the culverts and bands needed for 120 Mia Drive, below is the breakdown of estimated cost for the culverts and bands needed to install at your address. Mr. Jimmy, did you meet with Mr. Ordon and decide that he owed this $1,288?
I think Mr. Barnes said, correct me if I'm right, Mr. Barnes, or wrong, that we had to charge for the culverts because that's what the DA's opinion was, the charge for the culverts. So,
We had a DA's opinion that said we had,
well, a charge for,
okay, we need a copy of that, because I don't recall ever seeing anything like
Well,
that.
and
So you said a DA
well-
opinion for this 120 Mia Drive?
no, not for that, we just charge for culverts. And Mr. Barnes said we couldn't do it unless he paid for the culverts. And I said, I agreed, so let's help the man out and tell him he has to pay for the culverts. And he agreed to pay for them. But now seeing all these other jobs, I think the man is due a refund.
Well,
I
how
don't
many
think he
other
should have, I
residents
don't
have
think he
paid?
should have ever paid for those culverts.
Are there other residents that are paying for our problems? Or is this the one unicorn?
Well, the way I understand is because I've seen all other jobs that were done previous, and nobody was charged anything. So I think the reason for it, I believe Mr. Ordon's owed the refund back.
Mr. Barnes, do you have that DA opinion? Did you say there was a DA opinion that said Mr. Ordon had to pay for this?
No. It said that we had to charge, not for landscape culverts, but I didn't realize it was a parish outfall canal.
Okay, he was charged because you thought it was landscape
Well, that's what I was told.
culvert.
That's what I was told. I went
Told
out
by
there.
who? You didn't meet with Mr. Ordon on his,
I met with him, yes, I met with him, and I sure did, and it was after the fact was done.
at the site?
Right.
Because I'm looking at this and.
Right,
And,
right, I did, yes. And so.
well, when was it determined it was an outfall canal?
Mr. Barnes,
Because this was done November 2017. When was the outfall? After the council meeting, the last couple of meetings when everyone had questions about it? When was it determined that?
I started doing the research. I have a copy of the subdivision plat from my right-of-way guy. I went and pulled the subdivision map and, it is a parish outfall ditch. And after we come across the pictures from 2014, we needed to revisit this. I didn't even have these pictures, or nothing until just this past week. And, matter of fact, Steve gave me the right-of-way, Monday morning.
Has this type of error been made on any other of our residents? They've paid money? Has this happened? It's in this administration, I know you can't speak for the last, but
No, ma'am, not that I know of.
anyone else? Okay. All right, is that it, Mr. Barnes?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr.
Oh,
Chair.
I'm sorry, Mr.
I got something to say. Mr. Barnes, you know, the majority of this council up here like the work you're doing and what you're made of and how you get things did. But as a friend, I would please ask you to stop taking the fall for this president.
Anyone else? Okay. 55, Mr. Tommy Lasang, Interim Parish Administrator, to present a presentation.
Well, Mr. Barnes presented mostly the stuff that I wanted to talk about, because what I wanted to talk about was some of the projects for hiring engineers for some of these drainage projects that we have coming up. We approved a bunch, y'all approved a bunch at the last meeting. Is to hire the engineer to see the feasibility of the project. It's not, the contract would still have to come before the council. And in part of his presentation, Mia was brought up because there was some questions as to paying for it. Well, when I got with Mr. Barnes and asked him, why would he pay for the culverts? If he pays for the culverts and we put them in, then he should have to pay for the installation too, like you would do at your house. You can buy them, or you can get a private entity to do it. That's when he started researching and said, well, it's an outfall canal. I said, well, then he shouldn't have paid for the culverts. It can't go both ways.
But that was a year later, though.
No, this was just this week
Right, but I'm saying
that I
this was
found out
done-
about it. I mean, I didn't know about this till this week when Mia came up. And when I Googled 120 Mia, I mean, I know where it is. I said,
Mr. Jimmy, can you-
Jimmy. I looked at it, and I know exactly where it is. And we had trouble there. And I will say one thing: the previous administration and we had our falling out sometime, but they did the right thing in that, because there's a hard 90-degree turn there, and it's silty soil there. Another 100 feet up the way, it's clay. We're probably gonna have to put another 50. How much you think? 50, 100 feet of culverts or something like that, to save the erosion a little bit further back. And Mr. Ordon, I mean, I don't think he should have paid for the culverts, because they were an outfall canal. It's similar to what Mr. Melvin wants to do in the country club. We have a project there. We've done projects like there all over. It's outfall canals that we're saving from collapsing, and they can get big fast. I mean, real big. We've had a lot of problems now. And this one, Mia Court, one of them, the house is close to the house on Mr. Ordon's property. Further back, it's not. The next lot, it's not, but it's still silting in regularly, and we have to clean it regularly. But there's always been a problem with that ditch on Mia Court.
But yet it still took a year for anyone to realize that this was an outfall ditch. It was a problem ditch. It was the parish's responsibility, and the money came out of Mr. Ordon's pocket.
Well, it's just a few months ago. He did it.
This says November of
Last year. Yeah, so it's 5 months.
still a resident paid for what's supposed to be our problem. Okay.
That's what when I started looking into it, that's what I said. Either he had to pay to have them installed like anybody else would, or then they were a parish project, which you shouldn't have bought the culverts in any way. So that's where that is. And I think the demonstration was just to show all these projects we do that y'all select primarily and put in the budget. We hire an engineer, we do them, we proceed with them as y'all approve them. And that's what, we met for, to try and discuss, and let's get some of these things Let's get a lot of stuff done, and it's up to y'all. I mean, we need to work together and get it done. So that was it. Mr. Barnes, I think, made a good presentation, and I understand y'all concerns about that ditch, and that's why he addressed that one particularly.
Okay. Mr. Grow?
I was gonna mention, I think it's longer than a year, if the way he described the ditch being small as a podium, and then all of a sudden.
It was a year tomorrow.
Year-
It's a year
April
tomorrow.
is when he came to us.
Right.
But I mean, that ditch, had some problems. He was pleading for help, so I hope we do, refund him for sure.
Okay. Anyone else? Mr. Lasang, are you done? Yes. All right. Can I get a motion to return to regular agenda? Moved by Mr. Grove, second by Mr. Otan. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, moving back to F, public hearing and ordinances for ratification. Can I get a motion to enter into to open public hearing? Moved by Paraloo, second by Lafont. All in favor? Any opposed? 9-0. Public hearing's open. Number 8. Ordinance amending and reenacting Chapter 44. Oh, I need to pull this one. Well, can someone pull this one? Lafont. So we'll completely rework that one. Number 9. Ordinance amending number 1924, changing the speed limit from 35 miles per hour to 40 miles per hour from Highway 1 to 40 Arpin Canal on Lafourche Bypass Road in Thibodaux, Louisiana, Ward 3, District 4, Parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana, providing for the placement of speed limit and speed check by radar signs and providing penalties for the violations thereof. Moved by Melvin, second by Paraloo. Any discussion, any comment from the public? 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Any comment from the council? Mr. Lafont?
Bo, what's the reason for putting the speed higher? Did we do a study? Did the sheriff's department recommend it? Are
Sheriff's
the
Department and it's,
residents for it?
well, mainly the Sheriff's Department approached me about it, and it's from Highway 1 to the 40 Arpin Canal. There's 3 houses, maybe 4, and then it's cow pasture from a mile or 2, or at least a mile and a half. So the residents are just taking them a while to put through there, and the policemen, I think, are tired of giving citations. I mean, you know, it's just tired of patrolling it at 35 when it's a mile and a half of pasture.
It's fine. Residents are fine with it?
Anyone else? All in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 10, establishing 4-way stops at the corner of Sycamore Street and Cedar Street, Raceland, Louisiana, Ward 3, District 6, Parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana, installing necessary 4-way stop sign and providing penalties for the violation thereof. Moved by Paraloo, second by Lafont. Any comment from the public? 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Any comment from the council? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 11, ordinance establishing 4-way stops in the corner of Cypress Street and Ash Street, Raceland, Louisiana, Ward 3, District 6, Parish of Lafourche, State of Louisiana, and installing the necessary 4-way stop signs and providing penalties for the violations thereof. Moved by Paraloo, second by Lafont. Any comment from the public? 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Any comment from the council? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 12, ordinance approving the attached servitude agreement between Water District Number 1 and Lafourche Parish Council and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement. Moved by Councilman Melvin, second by Paraloo. Any comment from the public? 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Any comment from the council? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 13, ordinance approving the attached servitude agreement between Dally Joseph Bro, Jr., Brenda Pierce Bro, and the Lafourche Parish Council, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement. Moved by Paraloo, second by Melvin. Any comment from the public? 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Any comment from the council? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. 14, ordinance approving the attached servitude agreement between Gary A. Landry and the Lafourche Parish Council and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement. Moved by Councilman Bourgeois, second by? Second by Councilman Lorraine. Any comment from the public? One time, two times, three times? Any comment from the council? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 15, ordinance providing for a 2018 supplemental appropriation 18-006 within the 2018 operation and maintenance budget to increase the budget for the East Side Drainage Project 15031 for a grant awarded to Lafourche Parish Government from DOTD Statewide Flood Control Program, State Project Number H.013147 for no more than 90% participation for the cost of constructing this project and for the 50% cost share from Lafourche Parish Drainage District Number 1 and Lafourche Parish Government for engineering costs and amount not covered by the grant, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said transactions as provided for by Article 6 of Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter. Moved by Councilman Lorraine, second by? Second by Grow. Any comment from the public? One time, two times, three times. Any comment from the council? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Can I get a motion to close public hearings? Moved by Paraloo, second by Lafont. All in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Public hearing is now closed. Mr. Otan, can you do the proposed ordinance?
G, proposed ordinance, number 16, proposed ordinance requiring a representative from the Department of Public Works designated by the parish president to present a monthly report on the first meeting of every month and to participate in a question and answer session with the council. If the designated representative does not have anything to report, his or her presence is still required for Q&A. Although Q&A may extend allotted time, the designated representative's presentation shall not exceed 6 minutes. This presentation can be canceled by the council chair, submitted by Councilwoman Esposito. Number 17, proposed ordinance requiring a representative from the Finance Department designated by the parish president to present quarterly reports and participate in a question and answer session with the council on the second meeting of the first month of every quarter. If the designated representative has nothing to report, his or her presence is required for Q&A. Although Q&A may extend allotted time, the designated representative's presentation shall not exceed 10 minutes. This presentation can be canceled by the council chair, submitted by Councilwoman Esposito. Item 18, proposed ordinance to extinguish a contract entered into by the administration of Mr. James Cobb Jr., named in resolution number 18-046, which was rescinded by the Lafourche Parish Council at the March 13, 2018 Lafourche Parish Council meeting, submitted by Councilwoman Esposito. Item number 19, proposed ordinance approving the attached servitude agreement between Byron Talbot, represented by Darrell Talbot, and Lafourche Parish Council, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement, submitted by Councilman Melvin for administration. Item 20, proposed ordinance to accept the subdivision known as Highland Oaks Phase 3 into the parish system, submitted by Councilman Bourgeois for the administration. Item 21, proposed ordinance providing for a 2018 supplemental appropriation 18-008 within the 2018 operations and maintenance budget to increase the budget for the low-income home energy assistance program contract, program year October 1st, 2017 to September 30th, 2019 for the contract awarded to the Lafourche Parish Government from the Louisiana Housing Corporation, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said transactions as provided for by Article 6 of the Lafourche Parish Home Rule Charter, submitted by Councilman Jones for the administration.
Thank you,
And that's it.
Thank you, Councilman Otan. Number 22, I'm going to have to defer it until, what's the next meeting date, Ms. Carlene?
April 24th.
So number 22 is deferred to April 24th. Number 23, resolution requesting the Lafourche Parish District Attorney to render an opinion as to whether the introduction and potential adoption of the ordinances number items 16 and 17 of this agenda violate the Home Rule Charter in relation to separation of powers. Can someone move on that for me? Moved by Councilman Otan, second by? Second by Lafont. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Y'all need to answer with a little bit more energy. Number 24, resolution requesting the Lafourche Parish District Attorney to render an opinion as to the following: whether residents can purchase any items from the parish at state bid price, and number 2, whether residents can purchase anything from the parish without approval of council or without it being at an auction or surplus sale. Move. You got your amendment in writing? Okay, so who seconds it? It's moved by Lafont, second by Jones.
Amendment would read, amendment to add, resolution 24, number 1, where it says whether residents can purchase any items from the parish. I'm sorry. Purchase any items from the parish at state bid price, I want to add, or parish low bid price. To the end of that.
Okay, can we,
I
motion
moved.
Lafont to amend, second by Paraloo. Can we get a vote on the amendment? All in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Okay.
Ask for discussion first.
What's that? Who didn't? Oh. What's that?
Did you ask for discussion
Oh, did I?
before we vote?
Do y'all need discussion?
I'll do the vote over.
Okay, well, that was the amendment. I was
Yeah.
going to let discussion after the amendment.
Okay.
Okay. So, now, as it's amended, any discussion by the council? Mr. Lafont, you have something?
No, I'm sorry.
No discussion? Okay, all in favor? Any opposed?
We already have to vote on the amendment.
Okay,
Now we're gonna
the
vote on
item
the
as it
ordinance
was,
As amended.
okay, I thought that's what I said. The resolution as amended.
Resolution is amended.
Right. So, all in favor of the resolution as amended? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 20,
I'm gonna, defer until we get out on the next one, until we get,
put your mic on, please, Councilman Lafont.
I'd like to defer the next one till, we get a DA's opinion. Let's defer it for, till the next meeting.
Okay. Number 25 is deferred until April 24th. Number 26, resolution rescinding resolution number 18-047, which approved balancing change order number 1 from Byron E. Talbot Contractor, Inc. for the project entitled West Side Drainage Improvements, moved by Jones, second by Paraloo. Any discussion? Mr. Lafont?
No, I just said.
Mr. Lorraine?
Yeah, I just want to know that when you're doing a CDBG grant and there's money left, doesn't it go back into the CDBG funds? Because I just had a project done on 308 and we put back 60,000, which goes back to the CDBG. Am I right or wrong?
Mr. Jimmy?
Maybe Mr. Lassane can answer that?
You're
Mr.
correct.
Lassane?
You're correct.
So by doing this, what are we accomplishing? Because I think what's happening here from what I'm seeing here and what I'm hearing here and what I'm seeing is that they want to direct this money into doing something that's not in the project. It's not in the scope of the project.
Mr. Jones?
No, the project was not completed. I asked the engineer up here twice. I called him back to the podium. The main part that was left out is where the flooding took place.
Exactly, but according to what the engineer said the other day, they said it wasn't in the scope of the project.
It's
Two
in the-
engineers
it's in the
said that.
target of the
You
project.
saying that.
It's in the target. I got the drawing. And I asked
You
Mr.
say
Bourne,
that.
did you see it, Mr. Bourne?
Mr. Barnes, do you know the answer to that?
It is on the general outlay of the project. I discussed it with Jack, and I discussed it with Dustin, and I'm still doing research on it and still working with the engineers on it.
So general outlay, you mean it's included in the scope of the project? Is that what you're saying, or?
I'm saying like just about any CBG project, they give a drawing of the designated area. But according to the two engineers, that this part here was not in the project, and they would have to do environmental, and I don't know why that would be on a city street or a parish street on just a ditch along the side of the road. So I'm supposed to meet with Dustin and Jack again next week. And I'm gonna do some more research to see if I can find anything, if any part of this project was deleted, because this here project was started in the last administration. All we had to finish up in this administration was just 2 right-of-ways. There was nothing deleted by this administration, so I still gotta do a little legwork before I can, answer that.
Mr. Jones?
Mr. Barnes, the engineer came out there along with Terry Araby and myself, and it was in the scope of the project. It's just when he got back to the office, everything changed. And even at the podium, Dustin said some things that was not in the scope of the project that they included in the project. And Ms. Colleen got the transcript from the meeting. Can you please read that?
Engineers, Mr. Dustin Rabelais, representing T. Baker Smith, 1100 South Acadia Road, Thibodaux, Louisiana, approached the podium at the February 27, 2018 meeting, spoke on numerous projects, including West Side Drainage Improvement Project. Below is a verbatim excerpt from his presentation regarding West Side Drainage Improvement Project. Mr. Rabelais stated, West Side Drainage Improvement Project, happy to say we finally substantially complete on that project. It did take considerably longer than what we thought, okay? But there were some circumstances that were unforeseen that were not the contractor's fault, okay? I think if you look at that project, and I'm going to email this presentation to y'all tomorrow morning, I'm going to send y'all some before and after shots. The work that was done, it's definitely by far better than what it was. I mean, it really worked out well. We were able to do a lot more work than what we had planned on doing. You know, we were able to get the shoulder for the church along Talbot Pave so that when, you know, car riders are going to pick up their kids, they're not halfway on the street creating a problem, you know. So we were able to do that. The good thing is, with all that additional work, the original cost estimate on this project was $1.38 million. The contract price came in at $1.12 million. And even at the $1.12 million, we still $50,000 under budget. So a tremendous amount of money. I think that's a CDBG project. Will go back into that CDBG fund, I will presume, okay? I don't manage that, but it's under budget. And that concluded his presentation.
And to get back to the answer, we met out there. Dustin agreed that that should have been did. And it is a simple fix. Sweep the ditches, clean out the culverts. But we met, I met in James Bourne's office last Wednesday, got on a conference call with Jack Plezon. And by his conversation, he added up to $100,000 that they had to go out and study. But I'm tired of the engineers use the CDBG, the minorities, to get these grants and don't do anything in the minority district. That's a no-no. From now on, we're going to know the complete scope of each project and what they're planning on doing before I vote on anything. But this money going to stay in the fund until the job is completed. And thanks to Mr. Chancellor that he agreed to meet with Mr. Barnes out there to try to get it straightened out. Because he knows there's a flooding problem there, a big flooding problem there. A small rain drains back and flood homes on Midland Drive, on Barbie Drive. That's where the project originally started at. Not blacktopping on the side of the road at St. Genevieve. It started with a flooding area. And that was part that was left out.
Well, that's where they should have started from the very beginning instead of leaving it out.
Well, we're agreeing on it, Daniel.
You know?
We're agreeing on it. That's exactly where they should have started.
I had 60,000 left. I could have went another half a mile, would have taken care of me a lot better on the project I had. But it went back into kitty.
Well, I can go back in the kitty if they get out there and sweep the ditches and blow out the culvert.
Mr. Jones.
Barnes?
Mr. Jones. Correct me if I'm wrong. Crystal Chasson was the parish administrator at the time, is that right?
What time we talking about?
Whenever this project got,
Started, yes.
whenever this project got started? Okay. So I just wanted to clarify that where I can do a little more research, but I still want to look at it myself.
And that's where the problem started from, that area right there.
Mr. Jimmy, you wanted to add anything to that? No? Okay, anyone else? You know, no one else, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 27, resolution approving the appointment of Ms. Suzette Bartneski to the Lafourche Parish Community Action Advisory Board, moved by Jones, second by Paraloo. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Passes 9-0. 28, resolution approving the appointment of Ms. Dayon Gassery, I apologize if I mispronounced that, to the Lafourche Parish Community Action Advisory Board, moved by Jones, second by Paraloo. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 29, resolution approving the appointment of Mr. Christopher Richardson to the Lafourche Parish Community Action Advisory Board, moved by Jones, second by Lafont. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 30, resolution approving the appointment of Miss Daisy Gray to the Lafourche Parish Community Action Advisory Board, moved by Councilman Jones, second by Grow. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 31, resolution approving a cooperative endeavor agreement with Clinic Drugstore, Inc., whereby the Lafourche Parish Office of Community Action agrees to reimburse Clinic Drugstore, Inc. for medicine and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents, moved by Councilman Jones, second by Paraloo. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. 32, resolution approving a cooperative endeavor agreement with D&M Pharmacy, whereby the Lafourche Parish Office of Community Action agrees to reimburse D&M Pharmacy for medicine and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents, moved by Councilman Jones, second by Paraloo. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. 33, resolution approving a cooperative endeavor agreement with Jake's Kids LLC, whereby the Lafourche Parish Office of Community Action agrees to reimburse Jake's Kids LLC for school uniforms and/or post-secondary school work uniforms, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents, moved by Councilman Jones, second by Paraloo. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. 34, resolution approving a cooperative endeavor agreement with Fletcher Technical College for the purpose of providing tuition assistance in school books and supplies, assistance and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents, moved by Councilman Jones, second by Councilman Otan. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. 35, resolution approving a cooperative endeavor agreement with Nicholls State University Bookstore for the purpose of providing school books and supplies assistance, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents, moved by Councilman Jones, second by Councilman Otan. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. 36, resolution approving a cooperative endeavor agreement with Nicholls State University for the purpose of providing tuition assistance, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents, moved by Councilman Jones, second by Otan. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. 37, resolution approving cooperative endeavor agreement with the Learning Bridge Career Institute for the purpose of providing tuition assistance, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents, moved by Councilman Jones, second by Otan. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. And the Jones show continues. Number 38, resolution approving a cooperative endeavor agreement with Deauville Inn and Suites, whereby the Lafourche Parish Office and Community Action agrees to reimburse Deauville Inn and Suites for an amount not to exceed $400 per qualified applicant and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer the agreement in any and all relevant documents. Moved by Councilman Jones, second by Otan. Any discussion? Mr. LaFont.
I just got a question. Why do we reimburse for hotel rooms?
Mr. Jones?
What's that for?
That's for homeless. Let's say someone, family get burned out, a homeless guy comes around and they put him up for a night, or maybe a fire victim, 3
That's fine.
nights.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Any further discussion? Mr. LaFont?
No.
Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. 39, resolution approving a cooperative endeavor agreement with the Apple Inn, whereby the Lafourche Parish Office of Community Action agrees to reimburse Apple Inn for an amount not to exceed $400 per qualified candidate, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement in any and all relevant documents. Moved by Councilman Jones, second by Otan. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. What's that? Oh, thank goodness. We all get to have items on the agenda now. Thank you, Mr. Councilman Jones. Number 40, resolution approving a cooperative endeavor agreement between Lafourche Parish Government and Lockport Youth Athletic Association to provide concession stand services, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement in any and all relevant documents. Moved by Councilman Otan, second by Councilman Jones. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0.
I got one question.
Oh, LaFont?
But I'm voting for it. What, is anybody using our concession stand need one of these, agreements? It's the first time I ever see that since I've been on the council.
Mr. Otan?
Yeah, so there should have been an agreement a long time ago, just never was. They just kind of ran the concession stand. So now it's kind of playing catch up. And of course, remember too that 2 years ago, LRD1 was over the concession stand. So we just missed out last year, and we've made an agreement with this group. Thank goodness, because I don't know how else we'd open that concession stand.
Well, and look, I think it's great that, but I think if we're gonna make one, I think we ought to look at maybe all of them. 'Cause I don't know if anybody else has an agreement. We could check that, Mr. Jim, if you can have somebody check that out. Might be a good idea to cover the parish. All right, thank you.
Number 41, resolution approving a cooperative endeavor agreement for the Homeland Security equipment from South Central Planning and Development Commission, funded through the fiscal year 16 Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness Grant number EMW 2016SS00018S01, and furthermore transferring ownership of said equipment to Lafourche Parish Government, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said agreement and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Councilman Otan, second by Paralew. Any discussion? Mr. LaFont? Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 42 is going to have an amendment, right? Number 42, resolution approving the low quote of M&L Engine LLC for the purchase of a new pump for the Butch Hill Pump Station, authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Moved by Councilman Bourgeois, second by Councilman Otan. Where's the amendment on that, Ms. Carleen?
Throughout the document, they're changing the word pump to engine. So throughout the resolution. And that's the amendment.
Okay. And that's, who's moving on the amendment? Councilman Otan moves on the amendment. Can I have a second on the amendment? Councilman Grow. Okay, item as it is amended, we need to, any discussion? Any, on the item as amended? Any discussion? Any discussion on the amendment? All in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. The amendment. Now, the item as amended. The resolution as amendment. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 43, resolution approving amendment Number 1, to the Memorandum of Understanding between Lafourche Parish Government, Lafourche Parish Sheriff's Office, and Catahoula Correctional Center for the housing, care, custody, and transportation of Lafourche Parish Detention Center inmates, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said amendment in any and all relevant documents. Can someone move for me? Moved by Councilman Otan, second by Jones. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 44, resolution approving the low quote of Hammer and Steel, Inc. for the purchase of steel sheet piling for the Lower Pointe Pump Station, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Moved by Councilman Bourgeois, second by Otan. Any discussion? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 45, resolution approving a contract between Lafourche Parish Government and J. Wayne Plaisance, Inc. for engineering services for the project entitled Drainage Improvement near West 217th Street, LPG Project 17016, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said contract and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Councilman Lorraine, second by Bourgeois. Any discussion? Mr. Otan.
Yeah, so I'm gonna speak in favor of this project, and I would hope that my fellow councilmen will follow me in supporting this project. However, in looking at it, I don't quite understand why we would need to have it engineered. I mean, I know that our parish DPW guys install coverage, catch basins on a regular basis. This doesn't look like an over-encompassing project to me. I'm just wondering, does it really need to go to an engineer, or can we just move forward with it?
Mr. Lasang,
It may be over $150,000. It's not a large project, but it's probably something we can do in-house. And some of the things we did in the past, doing things in-house, sometimes it's a little tricky. So I think it's better in this case to hire the engineer and let him tell us what we can do. And when we get a cost estimate, we might be able to do it in-house. And Barnes and I has talked about that, but I think if we get it engineered, we make sure they flow in the right way and that everything's sized right.
Do we have any idea what that would cost? What the engineering fee would be on that?
Probably
Just a rough idea?
probably 10 or 12 grand on this one, I believe.
Okay, I didn't see it as being that big of a project, but for this one, I believe that we should support this one. I think it's, that front section of that road is very, very tight, so I'll support this one.
so you're thinking you should support it. Why? Because
This is the one that was pictures up on earlier. At the front, the street is like 8 foot wide. There's no shoulder. It's just the road is collapsing on the edges. It's, the reason I'm thinking it's not gonna be very expensive, because on the south side, the piping is only maybe 6 inches, 8 inches. It's real small piping. But there is no wiggle room, and the road is gonna cave in. The parish right now can't continue going and dig that ditch. Can't keep sweeping that ditch as is, in my opinion.
okay.
And it's only the front part of the road. It's only up to, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's only the little dog leg that's right next to Highway 1, where it's like 8 foot. Then in the back, it opens up to 20 foot, and the drainage and everything is good, normal. It's just in the front, there's no, it's right at, the ditch is right at the road. Some of it is starting to collapse in, straight down.
Councilman LaFont.
I don't understand, and look, if it's just the front, I'll support it, but if it's the back, I'm not gonna support it. But I'm looking one side saying 400, one side saying 700. James, did you look at it and see why one side be 400, one side be 700?
Mr. Barnes.
Yes, I did look at it. One side don't need as much pipe as the other side. So it's the left-hand side needs a little bit more pipe than the right-hand side.
That's just for the front.
Yeah, just for the front, down to the little dog leg. And if the engineer comes back and the pipe that we have on hand, the pipe and catch basins that we have on hand at the South Lafourche levee district, if that's the correct size pipe, then we won't be out the expense of buying any pipe and catch basins for this project. You all right with that, Daniel? You good with that?
Yeah, well, just to let
Mr.
Armin
Lorraine?
know, about 2 years ago, they got a motel right there. And about 2 years ago, they had a section of about 15 feet that collapsed. So what's really happening there, I'll tell you what's happening there is the bayou water is coming in like crazy right there. And it's just deteriorating everything. And if we put those cement covers, then you wouldn't have that problem. And you'd close, because that thing is breaking real bad and it's very narrow. Yeah, it's just that front section.
Mr. LaFont, you had something else?
Yeah, and look, I'm gonna support it if it's just the front section. We checked it out. It's bad. We saw pictures of it tonight. It is bad, just the front. The back doesn't need to be culverted, if it's just the front, but I'm feeling like Nooney. I don't know why we have to get engineers on all these projects, and I don't think it'll cost that much. Doesn't look like that much. Maybe I might have to move some water lines. I don't know. Just seems like we could have done that in-house.
Mr. Barnes, you mentioned something about if you have the culverts in-house, you wouldn't have to buy new ones. Do we have a lot of culverts stockpiled somewhere that some projects we won't need to buy some? That's the first I've heard anything mentioned about some that we have on here.
We had some concrete culverts left over from another project in the road sales tax 2 area, and we stockpiled the pipe at the South Lafourche Levy District yard.
How many feet do you think?
Uh,
Oh, but that's road sales tax too, so that's Nooney,
yes, yes,
LaFont, and Daniel.
yes, that's the only areas that can be used in. And some of these places, like when we're getting down the bayou, it's either gonna have to be plastic pipe or this concrete pipe. Galvanized pipe or coated galvanized pipe. We're wasting our time and we're wasting our money.
And the extra pipe you said is concrete?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Mr. LaFont?
James, can we get a list of the pipes we have left over from that job? I didn't know we had a stockpile of those. Can we get a list of it?
Yes, y'all, I don't know if y'all remember whenever that project, that we had in road sales tax 2, it run into a utility problem.
Remember that?
And we discussed it here, and we got some estimates from some, utility companies, and it was, a lot, just a tremendous amount of money.
Right,
So-
I remember that. So we could just get a list of, what you have stockpiled over there? Are we keeping inventory?
Yes, yes.
Does the levy board have access to those, or no, they're just our culverts?
They just stockpile there.
Okay. They just being nice to
And-
let us put it there.
And if we use one, we show it being used out of that and delete it from the inventory.
Okay, if we can get a list of it, I appreciate it.
Councilman Lorraine?
Yeah, you probably have about 10 catch basins left and really not that much covers left, because remember now, on that airport job with the drainage, they're gonna be taking some of those covers there to do that job. And that's
Okay.
gonna pretty much eat the bulk of it up.
Okay.
Councilman LaFont? LaFont, you have something else? Okay, any further discussion? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Number 46, resolution approving a contract between Lafourche Parish Government and PCOLA, Inc. for engineering services for the project entitled Raising Sidewalk West 124th Street, Galliano, Louisiana, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said contract and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Councilman Lorraine, second by Bourgeois. Any discussion? Councilman Otan.
Yeah, so on this one, Daniel, I'm a little confused. So at West 124th, there is nothing, there's no cement walkway until you get about halfway the distance to West 123rd Street, at which place there's some elevated, somebody poured some used cement, that's part of it. So can you just explain? I don't quite understand what's going on right here.
The
Lorraine?
parish added that cement. I tried to tell them to put it higher, but they didn't, and James and I went visited, and he's more expertise into this than I am, so he can maybe tell you.
Mr. Barnes?
Yes.
Is your light on? I can't
Yes.
see you, so y'all gotta wave to me.
Okay. Yes. There's some lower areas in the sidewalk.
Did you have pictures of that one? No? Yeah?
I don't think I had pictures of that one. But there's some low areas in the sidewalk, and, if it's engineered or whatever, I think this is another project that we can do in-house. All we would do would be pour a slab on top of the existing slab, and, just going, about 150 feet with maybe 2 catch basins and 1 driveway of pipe. And if, this is another project that, then again, if the pipe is not used up and the engineer says the 15-inch pipe will satisfy the needs with the catch basins, I wouldn't have a problem doing this, if y'all approve it.
Mr. Otan?
So, so I'm still not quite sure I understand. So the project is called West 124th, but the cement driveway stops about halfway between 123rd and 124th. But from 123rd south, it's only, out the new cement, it was only like 2 houses. So it's a cement sidewalk in front of 2 houses. I guess I don't quite understand. What's our interest in having a sidewalk? Where does it go to? It goes to those 2 houses, but it doesn't connect, like it's not connecting streets, it's not connecting, I don't quite understand it.
It
Mr. LaFont?
starts
Mr.
from the middle of
LaFont?
124.
Mr. LaFont has the floor.
Oh, okay.
Ms. Posito, if we can get the, is that Gretchen? I can't see, no, it's not Gretchen. If you can pull up Google Earth and go to LA 124th Street and give us a view of it, I think we get a lot of understanding. Mr. Barnes, my question is, and I'm puzzled like Nooney, because you just talked about culverts. This says sidewalk raising. There has nothing about it that says culverts. So I'm kind of puzzled, but also, what's the linear foot? How many feet of sidewalk we talking about? It don't look but maybe between 2 streets. It's not much feet. It's really a dead end. It's a dead end sidewalk. There's no sidewalk before it, and there's no sidewalk after it. So I don't know why we'd be spending parish money on a sidewalk that goes to nowhere.
Mr. Barnes?
It's 2 low areas in the sidewalk. I'm just saying.
Can we just put dirt? Because there's no sidewalk nowhere else around there.
Yes, there is.
It don't show. You can't see it.
I'll tell you there is. Okay?
We're gonna see it.
Put it up.
Mr. Lorraine, please wait till you're called upon to have the
Well,
floor.
you always shut me up.
No, I don't. Do you want to add something now?
It goes all the way to CVS, and it stops before you get to 124.
Are they able to pull it up, Mr. Lasang?
There's a flooding issue there that the water goes over the sidewalk, and it's a safety hazard, and it's on a state highway, so that's why an engineer for it, and yes, I think, Public Works can do it. I don't think it's gonna be that expensive. I mean, I hate to say not that expensive, because it's 100,000, it's 100,000, but that's the issue with this particular project.
You're really not talking but about maybe 8 or 10 yards of concrete to solve the sidewalk problem, and maybe 100 or 150 feet of pipe to get to the next street.
Mr. Otan?
Are we gonna be able to see it on the screen or not?
And this has got to be engineered?
So I went down, I mean, you know, from what I'm seeing, from 123rd to CVS is good streets, but we're talking about from 123rd south, correct? Not from 123rd to CVS.
I can't remember all the landmarks.
Mr. Lorraine?
Yes, there's a couple of low spots in that section also, north of 123rd. And that goes all the way to CVS. You got 123rd, 122nd, then you got the connection.
Mr. LaFont? Are we still waiting?
I do want to point out too, there's a very, very wide shoulder there, very, very wide. Because south of that, there is no sidewalks. The residents don't have like below halfway off 123rd going south. I mean, I don't know where the next sidewalk starts, but it basically stops right there. They do have the luxury of a very, very wide, nice shoulder in that area too. But my first impression was, why wouldn't you just cover the sidewalks? Why wouldn't you just put fill and eliminate the sidewalks? Because from 123rd, once again, south, it's only like 2 houses. It doesn't connect the next street. It ends at a business or something halfway. But if it's from 123rd to north, that needs some work, to me, the DPW can do that. That's something that can be done in-house, doesn't need to be brought to an engineer. I don't see the money invested here for an engineer. I don't see it.
Mr. Lasang?
Because of where it's located, I think the engineer, I mean, I agree, I hate paying engineers. We could do a lot of stuff, but for this particular one, I just think we need the engineer for this one, with being a safety hazard, being on a state highway and stuff like that. And it's not gonna be that expensive, especially if we do it in-house. And it might be, the engineer recommends taking the sidewalk out and building it up, which would be fine with, I guess, anybody.
And Mr. Lasang, you're thinking there's a need to build a sidewalk to nowhere? Is that
Oh,
what you're?
no, I really don't
Do you
care
think
about
there's
the
a need
sidewalk.
for the sidewalk?
No, I don't care about the sidewalk at all.
Mr. Barnes?
Well, I can't see covering up the sidewalk, with dirt. You talking about 7 to 10 yards of concrete and a few form boards? You ain't talking about $1,000 to salvage the sidewalk. You
And
know,
the engineering on that would be what? More than the project, probably.
uh,
Are they still trying to pull it up? Are they,
She can't pull it up.
you can't? Okay.
I have it on my laptop.
Does anyone want to walk and look at it on Nooney's laptop? Do you have more?
I'm just puzzled that we're saying raising the sidewalks, and then I keep hearing, culverts involved. And I just thumbed through it real quick, and I don't see anywhere where it says putting culverts anywhere, so I'm just puzzled on that.
It's because it's holding the water in that area. That's the
Well, the
problem.
part of raising the sidewalk to be above the water, but
And the culvert's gonna be below, and get it out of there. That's the purpose.
So you think there's going to need to be a culvert underneath the sidewalk, in addition to the sidewalk? Is that what you're saying?
it's just culverts along the highway. Them 2 driveways specifically are undersized. So I think it would serve a purpose, a safety issue right there. If somebody does happen to walk or go to the side of the road to walk to the next section of the highway, or next section of sidewalk, if we can salvage the sidewalk and put in a little bit of drainage, if Mr. Otan, you have a measure on your Google Earth?
I do, but once again, it's not clear on so the project had said, raise sidewalk at West 124th. So to quantify it, I mean, it runs basically, like I said, from half of 123rd to CVS. And I don't know what part of this you need sidewalk or don't. I'm sure the residents on 123rd probably use that sidewalk, but I don't see where there's issues on that side. I didn't see where there was issues on that side, although there may be high water events, I'm not sure.
If you look at it.
Mr. Barnes, put your light on, mic on.
Oh, if you look at it, in some areas it's been raised and tapered down, and then raised and tapered down. We're talking about just filling in the gaps to would all be the same elevation and tied into the driveways.
I'm just gonna still hold my position. I don't see the need for an engineer. If DPW wants to move forward with it, that's certainly the administration's call, but I'm not gonna be in favor of hiring an engineer to raising sidewalks.
Mr.
Not from
Parlow.
what I saw and from what I interpreted and see.
Mr. Paraloo.
My only question on this is, and I mean, I'm a rookie, so you gotta forgive my naivety on it, but since it's on a state highway, shouldn't it be the state's responsibility if it's a safety issue to make sure the sidewalk's safe?
Mr. Lorraine?
Sidewalk was built by the police bureau.
Mr. Barnes, you got anything? Your lights? Anyone else? No one else? Okay, let's vote. All in favor? I can't hear you. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Nay. Who's the ayes? Ayes are Bourgeois and Lorraine. Fails 27. Number 47, resolution approving a contract between Lafourche Parish Government and Angelette Pisciola LLC for engineering services for the project entitled West 107th Street Drainage Improvement LPG Project 17015, and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer said contract and any and all relevant documents. Moved by Councilman Lorraine, second by Councilman Bourgeois. Any discussion? Councilman Otan?
Yeah, so this one, I totally don't understand at all. If you can maybe explain it a little bit. I know we've gone over it a couple of times. I went and looked at it, and I don't quite understand what's going on in this one. If you can explain it.
Councilman Lorraine?
What we're doing the same thing like with you, all the covers you saw up here tonight. That's why some of y'all didn't want to look at this. All these covers that were put, it benefits the people. This is a safety issue, and this canal keeps getting wider, and that whole neighborhood drains in there. We're not doing any different than what we did in his area at West 11th, and all these other streets right here for Mr. LaFont, West 91st, East 1st, East 7th, East 26th. In my area, West 111th, we did it. We did it on West 175, East 116, and East 173 and 74 off the highway. And what this does, once you fix this, you ain't got to go sweep out the ditch anymore. You ain't got to go cut the grass anymore. And it helps out the area.
So it helps out the area with drainage, or just that there's
No,
maintenance?
drainage. Yeah, drainage. That drains that
I
whole
always
street.
understood culverts
You know-
diminish the capacity of drainage.
What's that?
I thought culverts diminish the water capacity.
No,
That's
no,
not
if
true?
you put the right size, an open ditch, they claim always drains better, but if you put the right size covered, it'll work.
Mr. LaFont?
Yeah, Mr. Barnes, can you pull up your presentation, the second one you did, please? Yeah, no,
Hey,
not that.
y'all too loud. Y'all too loud.
I want to start from the beginning. All right, go to the next one. Outfall Canal, look at that trailer right there. Are we gonna culvert this one? We have plans to culvert this one? No, all right, next one. You can go, nothing too close to that one. Look at this house up close. Are we gonna be culverting this one? Do we have funds to culvert this ditch, Mr. Barnes? We just dug it. Look how close that house is. Next one, please. Go ahead. All right, look at this house right here on the left. Are we gonna culvert those? But it's pretty close to the house, Mr. Jones, Mr. Barnes, it can. Can we go to the next one? That one's got houses close too. Can we go to the next one? Look at this, the pipe's about to fall in the ditch. Are we culverting this one? No, okay, next one. You got my point. Can we afford to culvert all these outfall canals as a parish? We can't afford it. Thank you. That's all I gotta say.
Mr. Lorraine?
Yeah, I just want to say that on November the 22nd, item number 28, 29, and 30, that's the three projects we're talking about, was voted on by this council, put in the budget. It's in the 2017 budget. It's in the 2018 budget. And it seems like when it comes to my district, some councilmen are more interested in my district than in their district. As far as Mr. LaFont, I wish he'd take care of his own district. I'm gonna quit taking his phone calls. You got a boat launch in LaRose that's been sitting there. People are calling up, want to use it. Nothing has ever been done. look at all the culverts that were put in his district. Same kind of ditches. He didn't say nothing. In fact, I tell you what, he knows less about his district and knows more about what I do. He doesn't know. So if y'all want to shoot it down, go ahead and shoot it down. Do whatever y'all want. But it's sad that y'all gonna all go to my district and see what's going on. But I would tell Lafourche, take care of your area and please stay out of my area, man. You don't even know what the hell you're doing in your area. You gonna come run my area?
Okay, okay. Mr. Melvin?
Yes, I've seen people come to the meetings with issues, and of course, as elected officials, we want to help people as best we can, legally, where possible, when possible, depending on the budget. I know that there's some canals, major outfalls, that did start off small, just like the gentleman told us earlier on the video. And if a parish vehicle has to get in there, like a trackhoe excavator, dump truck, etc., and if you measure the parish right away and it's now in somebody's living room and the AC slab is falling into a ditch in some areas, I'm not saying everywhere needs a culvert on some of these outfalls or a cement line, but in some instances, we have to do something. Now, Ms. Lorraine, I haven't been in the area. I'm sorry. I wish I'd have maybe go and take a ride, take a look. I don't know what it's looking like, but I know that, we're here to help the people best we can. And I don't believe in favoring one district. I think some of that has gone on personally, but I'm just saying that where we need to help the people, we need to help the people, bottom line. Now, I have a project coming up in my district. Yeah, I have the money left over from the last councilman to do some of this work. So it's not like I'm going to get money that's not already there, but I understand it's touch and go. It's when we can help and how we can help, but it's not, we can't help everybody every time, but we hate to tell people no, but every case needs to be looked at, and I'd like to see something from your area, Mr. Lorraine, because I'm kind of experiencing the same thing. The man was on the TV earlier talking about it. It's just what happens when they keep cleaning these ditches. I understand, so.
Councilman Lafourche?
Yeah, just to answer what Mr. Lorraine said, Mr. Jimmy, can you get the boat launch open? I know you're working pretty hard at it and trying your darndest to do it, but I appreciate it. But I don't know what we're waiting on to open it. I know we're waiting on some engineering. Can we just open it for the people to use it? We asked that before.
Well, it's quite difficult to open some of this, a safety issue. There's no lighting there, and we need to know how we're going to park. I think we need to get something organized.
We had several boat launches that never had lighting for years.
Well,
so
and if y'all tell me to open it, I'll open it. Y'all take the responsibility.
I'd say open it.
Well, do whatever we.
You could open it. I just need it. I passed by Sunday. It looks like it's ready to go. And secondly, Mr. Lorraine, the money that we're talking about comes out of road sales tax too, which encompasses your district, my district, and Mr. Nooney's. So that's why I'm keeping up with it, sir.
Mr. Lorraine?
The only thing I want to say about road sales tax too, that was, you're right, we all have a share, but that was passed by the public way before you got here.
Okay. Mr. Groh?
Yeah, my question was just going to be for Mr. Barnes. Do you feel, I mean, this was sponsored for administration, by administration brought it up, but do you think we need to culvert this? Or look at engineering on
Mr.
culvert?
Jimmy?
I was asking Mr. Barnes.
Oh, well, I'd like Mr. Jimmy after. Go ahead, Mr. Barnes.
Like I say, a lot of people don't really understand it's a cross culvert, this that goes across this ditch that feeds a tremendous amount of water. I don't think we're talking about culverting the whole ditch, which I don't have a vote in this matter, but
But I respect your opinion. I say yes or no.
okay. I'm
do we need
going to say I support all the projects if we got money in it. I don't necessarily have if we get it engineered, it might be another project we might can do in-house. I just got to be careful with the state and federal bid laws, what I can do and what I can't do.
Mr. Grow?
But I trust your experience in roads and and I go to you with a lot of questions. This is just a question of, do you think putting a culvert would be a good idea as far as your knowledge? I mean, because
It would prevent some, eroding issues, and if not, we're going to have to redig it again here. We actually have a work order to redig it, and the ditch is gonna be a little wider. So every time we dig it, we take a little bit more earth out of it, and we haul it and stockpile the dirt. So.
and that's true with every ditch, but with this ditch, West 107th, do you feel we need to put a culvert?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, and you feel we need to put a culvert because of the erosion, you're saying?
Yes.
And how many structures are about to be jeopardized because of the erosion?
I don't think the houses are real close to the ditch.
About how far off do you think, how many feet do you think the nearest house is? Any idea?
I'm gonna say 30 or 40 feet.
You have something to add? Please state your name and address for the record, please. Yeah. I think you're the first one to use it tonight, is he? There you go.
Nicholas Guidry, 6236 Highway 308, Lockport. The thing I'd like y'all to see, who would determine, like, if a property owner's damage is too close to the house, or is footage of their actual property? And the only reason why I'm standing up here is because I already went to court with the parish against some people in the Lockport area based on a right-of-way and drainage ditches like this. Parish had the right-of-way and everything. People's land were eroding. So if the house is not falling in, but they're losing land, it's still a loss. And you're draining the public in that situation. So I just wanted y'all to think about that, you know. Who would determine that it was severe enough to do it? Is it the council that's determined? The director, the president, the people in the field, the landowner, you know? It's how far will the rabbit hole go?
That's something I don't know, because how many outfall ditches do you think there are in the parish?
Thousands.
Thousands, yeah. So that's why we have to be careful, I guess, with,
I just want to point that out. That way it's not easy A or B, you know? It's like a as case needed, you know?
well, you've probably seen the big ditch behind Magnolia Landing. You see how close that is encroaching on those people's property?
Correct.
And they barely have a backyard anymore.
Right.
So, I mean, that's a big problem there as well. And that's eroding to the point where it's two people's houses. But we do have it everywhere. Somebody had their light on down there?
I just want to offer my 2 cents on that.
All right, thank you. Anyone else?
And Miss Lucy?
Mr. Barnes?
Yes, ma'am. The particular ditch you're talking about, that's Magnolia Landing, you said? Yes, I agree. I've been out there to look at that ditch. It is a tremendous amount of water that comes through that ditch, and yes, it is encroaching. If somewhere down the road, if the money was appropriated, I would definitely be in favor of that ditch, because it is getting closer and closer to the houses, because a lot of the old part of that area drains to that ditch.
How close do you think that ditch is to that house?
In Magnolia Landing? I'm gonna say, time we put a machine in there, the tracks are gonna be walking right on the right-of-way line. In other words, we're about out of right-of-way.
Right, yeah, that's what I was about to say. There is no more right away,
Yes.
so.
Yes, and that's what we went through with ranch land at the back of it.
But this one has about 30 feet before the structures in the.
Yes.
Councilman LaFont.
Mr. Barnes, when was the last time that ditch was cleaned out? Because look, I've been there, and it hasn't been cleaned out since I'm a councilman. I don't think so. Because Mr. Lionel Terrebonne, who's deceased, he called me one time years ago to go look at it, and I went and looked at it years ago, and it still looks the same as it was then. So do you know a date? The last time it was?
Without going back and look at the work orders, I know Rocky called me yesterday, and and asked me.
Councilman, can we please pay attention, please? Forget.
He had a work order to sweep the ditch, and I asked him to hold up to see until this, see what we did with this resolution without making the ditch wider or longer. Maybe Daniel might remember, but I don't remember.
Mr. Lorraine?
I think we take the willow trees out that ditch, it would help it out.
First of all, it's not Mr. Lionel Terrebonne, he happens to be deceased, but it's not his property, it's Mr. Jim Danos. And it drains that whole street from the front to the middle to the back. And it was swept out, I'd say about a year and a half ago. And they asked him to sweep it out again. So that ought to tell you something.
Who asked him to sweep it out again, Mr. Lorraine?
People that live there.
Okay. Anyone else? Oh, Mr. O'Terra.
Yeah, so there's about 10, 12 houses on that street. They're big, they're not like, this is not like in the town of Lockport where you got 50 houses
No, it would
in about a
be,
block or two. I got it up right here. It's just 10, 12 houses. And I'm looking at pictures that I took of the ditch. That's one hell of a nice looking ditch. I heard you say it was a year and a half. That's pretty good. This ditch looked pretty good to me. That I went, so I don't know. I don't get it. I won't be supporting it because to me it's
Well, do what
behind
you
these
gotta
houses.
do.
It's a good distance. It's a good distance from the houses. I don't see it. Oh, I will do what I gotta do. I'm gonna vote against it.
All right, any further discussion? Being none, all in favor? Any opposed? Nay. Ayes, raise your hand. Ayes are Gros, Lorraine, and Bourgeois. Fails 9, 8, fails 3, 6. With Mr. Melvin, with,
It's 3 yeas, 0 nays, 5 nays, 0 absent, 1 of the room. Down the vote.
so
3501.
3501.
I didn't see it.
Number 40, let the record show Mr. Melvin did walk back in at 7:20 PM. Number 48, resolution approving the hiring of an attorney and/or their law firm when necessary to perform any and all legal defense services for Lafourche Parish government and to provide compensation in accordance with Louisiana Attorney General's fee schedule and authorizing the parish president to sign, execute, and administer any and all relevant documents. Moved by Councilman Bourgeois, second by Lorraine. Any discussion? Being none?
Oh, I have some.
Mr. Perilou.
So this is just giving the administration a general authority to hire any legal defense services, to perform any and all legal defense services. So as items come up that the parish may need to defend against, they wouldn't have to come back to the council for an approval on hiring an attorney, correct?
That's the way I understand it, Mr. Lasang.
That's correct. It's the same list we had before. There's 3 new attorneys, 2 are civil rights attorneys for a case that we have now, and another one's an HR attorney because we only had 1 HR attorney. We took all the other ones that were added on the past one. We changed the language back to the original language, and we just needed, because of the upcoming cases, these 2 attorneys. But we hire them off the list all the time. Yeah,
All the time? I mean, so we're under enough litigation to always have like a
we used to have
stockpile
about
of
18.
attorneys?
We have about 18 cases. Some of them, a good bit of them are Council on Aging and Head Start.
Do we ever utilize the DA's office for this service as a defense service for the parish?
No, they do get involved
Why not?
sometimes and consult because they don't want to.
Mr. Gros. I'm sorry, Mr. Perilou, were you done?
I guess, Mr. Perilou, were you asking, because my question is this, I mean, we always have these lists, and this is a similar list that we've had voted on last year, with the exception of you added 2 new ones and took some off. I guess he was asking, like we had an issue with something with some mitigation, So we had somebody that was off of this list that y'all brought to us. Y'all gonna continue to do that?
Correct, yes.
This
we
doesn't
can't-
allow you to just hire any lawyer?
No, no, sir.
Okay.
No, sir.
I don't know if that's what he was asking, because I'm glad you're clearing that up, because it kind of got gray for a second. Okay.
Mr. LaFont?
They can hire any one of these on the list at any time without coming to council approval. But if they need a specialty lawyer, they have to come in front of us, right?
Correct.
What are the two that we're using now that we added on? Which ones? Mr. Lassang?
I don't have the list in front of me. You- One is Ms. Sharonda Williams, one is Mr. Steve Heideke, and the other one is Ms. Jennifer Deasy. And the others were all on the list before. Prohaska is the one we hired for the Choctaw levy, and all the other ones that were on the previous one submitted to y'all were taken off, and one y'all had in question was taken off also. And the language in the resolution was changed back to the old language, as there was some question. And I talked to Chairman Esposito about that, and I said, we'll just change it back to the old language and put the 3 attorneys that we need on there, and the other ones are just regular attorneys that we hire occasionally.
I'm fine.
You done? Mr. Parley?
You know what? I would be a heck of a lot more comfortable approving any list of attorneys with the caveat that if the DA's office cannot provide that service. Because they're inherently our attorneys for the parish.
I agree, and there's a state statute that says they are supposed to represent us, but they tell us that we need to get legal counsel for these cases. I mean,
On a per case basis though, right?
yes.
So, but this ordinance doesn't require you to even go to them. You can go straight to whichever attorney you want on the list, right?
Correct.
Okay, so why not have an amendment stating that if it's deferred from the DA's office, then this is an active list?
That would be fine. I would like that, where we send it to them. We would just we could have a generic letter that we send to them. We have this pending case. We would like to present this to you, and we're want to know if you will represent us. And it'd probably be when they say no. But if they say yes, good. But if they say no, then we hire from the list.
I think it's only right for,
like
you know,
that
as
idea.
stewards of the taxpayers' dollars, I mean, you know, instead of just arbitrarily going out and hiring an attorney, we have in-house attorneys. So if.
14.
Okay.
Or more.
So I'd like to propose that amendment.
It have to come from them.
Oh, okay.
I would say we propose it.
Yeah, it says, Madam Chair,
Councilman
it does say that, you know, the Lafourche Parish District Attorney serves as a legal advisor, whereas certain circumstances, outside counsel may be needed, but I think we should add, I mean, it does kind of lead you to that, but it doesn't strictly say ask them first. So
Exactly.
I think that's a good idea, if y'all want to, if administration would bring that forth.
I just want to add one more thing. If this would fail tonight, then we have a list that's in place, right? We have a
Right.
list that's in place that would continue, and then if.
We don't
there
have
were-
the specialized attorneys. That's the problem.
And if an attorney would be needed in a certain case, that.
Well, that's why we have this
Case by case
list.
come before the council then,
That's
right?
why we have this list, because we need these attorneys.
No, but I'm just saying,
Oh, another
handle
one,
it as
if
a
we,
case-by-case
if something else came
basis.
up, yes, we would have to come back with another specialized attorney, like we did with Prohaska. Yes,
All right. All right, so,
I'm all right.
you're right.
I got a question while you're waiting.
Councilman
Is any of
Jones?
these attorneys on here representing anybody in the administration now?
No, sir.
There's nobody in the administration, right?
No, sir.
Has
Not
any of
this
them
list. There was
represent-
before. That was the problem while we changed the list. There was, and we took the name off at the
Has any
request.
of them represented anyone from the administration in the past on this list? There's no former relationship. Is that what you?
Maybe Mr. Bourgeois in the past might have represented Mr. Cantrell. I don't know, Mr. Cantrell can answer that. Years ago, I mean, I know they're friends and,
No, it's, we've been represented by probably half the attorneys in, Lafourche Parish, for, our business. In other words, Mr. Bourgeois represented us, Mr., what was the other one that, well, they have several of them, but I can't remember them all, but, probably some of them.
no, she's talking about representing somebody personally.
Oh, not personally, no, representing business.
Okay.
But State Farm, we have some attorneys that are picked from State Farm to represent us in cases.
Okay. Can't hear you. You want to?
The amendment I have is this shall only be used after proposing to Lafourche Parish District Attorney, the Lafourche Parish District Attorney represent Lafourche Parish government on a particular case.
After proposing, meaning that.
We present it to him and.
But you don't have to take their advice. I mean, you're
Well, we
asking
could
for
put,
advice.
and subsequently being denied. If we propose it to him and he says no,
She.
yes, correct. She says no, you get counsel, we'll propose it to him. Everyone we'll send to him. I like the idea. I really do like the idea because I agree that they ought to represent us myself personally.
Okay, so you writing up that amendment, or do
I
you
have it right here.
Read it again?
This shall be only be used after proposing to the Lafourche Parish LPDA, Lafourche Parish District Attorney, represent Lafourche Parish government on a particular case and recommending private counsel.
And the DA's recommendation of
outside
private
counsel.
counsel?
Recommending outside counsel.
counsel. Okay, can you read that all again for us, so we can?
This shall only be used after proposing the Lafourche Parish District Attorney represent LPG on a particular case and recommending outside counsel. Recommend the hiring of outside counsel.
All right. Can you pass that down to us? Yeah, Ms. Carlene, I'm gonna need you to read that, and
Mr. Lasang, should we say this list shall only be used?
Yeah, that's fine, yeah.
Okay. This list shall only be used after proposing the Lafourche Parish District Attorney represent Lafourche Parish government on the particular case and recommending the hiring of outside counsel.
and the DA's recommendation of outside counsel, and
And
I know that's
in
kinda
recommending the
cumbersome.
hiring of outside counsel.
That's what he did with Mr. Prohaska when we had the Choctaw levy thing.
right. Does that sound right? Can you read that again, Ms. Carlene? I'm sorry.
Sure.
Seems cumbersome.
Yeah, this list shall only be used after proposing the Lafourche Parish District Attorney represent Lafourche Parish government on the particular case and recommending the hiring of outside counsel. And on the
Something's-
recommendation of the
The DA's
Lafourche Parish
recommendation.
To hire outside counsel, maybe?
The DA's recommendation
To hire outside counsel?
of hiring, to hire outside counsel, and then could you read it again so that administration?
He should be right.
Oh,
Pass that, sorry, forgot.
thank you, Mr. Jones. You got to get those procedures right. Yeah.
This list shall only be used after proposing the Lafourche Parish District Attorney represent Lafourche Parish government on the particular case and the District Attorney's office recommending the hiring of outside counsel.
Okay, but again, that one doesn't state that you have to take their recommendation. You could still do what you want. Is everyone okay with that? Because it doesn't say you have to take that recommendation, but Mr. Melvin, you had something?
It says we can only use it after they recommend outside counsel.
it does say
So,
that?
yes, if they.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, that was my question. Is it stating that giving y'all permission to choose outside counsel, or does it come back before this council to pull the trigger? It's confusing.
Okay, if you got it, then,
This list shall only be used after proposing the Lafourche Parish District Attorney represent Lafourche Parish government on a particular case, and the District Attorney's Office recommending the hiring of outside counsel. If he doesn't recommend hiring outside counsel, he can have it, and I'd love it. She can have it.
okay. Can you pass it down to Ms. Carlene, and let's read it again? Just make sure we have it where everyone agrees. Thank you.
This list shall only be used after proposing the Lafourche Parish District Attorney represent Lafourche Parish government on the particular case and recommending the hiring of outside counsel. No, that's not what he's saying. This list shall only be used after proposing the Lafourche Parish District Attorney represent Lafourche Parish government on the particular case and the District Attorney's Office recommending the hiring of outside counsel.
Okay, can I get a motion on the amendment? Moved by Perilou, second by Bourgeois. Now the item as amended. The resolution
Got to
as
vote on the
amended.
amendment.
Oh, vote on the amendment. Okay, so y'all ready? No more questions? On the amendment, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes 9-0. Okay, resolution as, vote on the resolution as amended. Any further discussion? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Nay.
Passes 8-1. Mr. Melvin opposing. Okay, Ms. Carlene, I'm going to ask you to handle Section I, Notice of Public Hearing and Public Meetings. You'll just read those all for us.
I, notice of public hearing and public meeting, number 49. Notice is hereby given pursuant to Article 7, Section 23C of the Louisiana Constitution, Revised Statute 47-1705B, that a public meeting of the Lafourche Parish Government will be held at its regular meeting place, the Council Chamber of the Matthews Government Complex, the Old Walmart Building, 4876 Highway 1, Matthews, Louisiana, 70375, on Tuesday, May 22nd, 2018, at 6 p.m., to consider adopting the renewed millage rates. D. Lorraine for administration. Number 50, notice is hereby given pursuant to Article 7, Section 23C of the Louisiana Constitution and Revised Statute 47-1705B, that a public hearing of the Lafourche Parish Government General Alimony will be held at its regular meeting place, the Council Chamber of the Matthews Government Complex, the Old Walmart Building, 4876 Highway 1, Matthews, Louisiana, 70375, on Tuesday, May 22nd, 2018, at 6 o'clock p.m. to consider levying additional or increased millage rates without further voter approval or adopting the adjusted millage rates after reassessment and estimated amount of tax revenue to be collected in the next year from the increased millage is $2,481,529.38, and the amount of increase in taxes attributable to the millage increase is $101,475.18. Moved by Mr. Daniel Lorraine for administration. Number 51, notice is hereby given pursuant to Article 7, Section 23C of the Louisiana Constitution and Revised Statute 47-1705B, that a public hearing of the Lafourche Parish Government criminal tax will be held at its regular meeting place, the Council Chamber of the Matthews Government Complex, the Old Walmart Building, 4876 Highway 1, Matthews, Louisiana, 70375, on Tuesday, May 22nd, 2018, at 6 o'clock p.m. to consider levying additional or increased millage rates without further voter approval or adopting the adjusted millage rates after reassessment and rolling forward to rates not to exceed the prior year's maximum. The estimated amount of tax revenue to be collected in the next year from the increased millage is $28,353.53, and the amount of increase in taxes attributable to the millage increase is $3,314.05. D. Lorraine for administration. Number 52, notice is hereby given pursuant to Article 7, Section 23C of the Louisiana Constitution and revised Statute 47-1705B that a public hearing of the Lafourche Parish Government Drainage, Health, and Library will be held at its regular meeting place, the Council Chamber of the Matthews Government Complex, the old Walmart Building, 4876 Highway 1, Matthews, Louisiana, 70375, on Tuesday, May 22nd, 2018, at 6 o'clock p.m. to consider levying additional or increased millage rates without further voter approval or adopting the adjusted millage rates after reassessment and rolling forward to rates not to exceed the prior year's maximum. The estimated amount of tax revenue to be collected in the next year from the increased millage is $5,132,385.53, and the amount of increase in taxes attributable to the millage increase is $220,644.61. Number 53, notice is hereby given pursuant to Article 7, Section 23C of the Louisiana Constitution, revised Statute 47:1705B, that a public hearing of the Lafourche Parish Government Road District Number 1 will be held at its regular meeting place, the Council Chamber of the Matthews Government Complex, the old Walmart Building, 4876 Highway 1, Matthews, Louisiana, 70375, on Tuesday, May 22nd, 2018, at 6 o'clock p.m., to consider levying additional increased millage rates without further voter approval or adopting the adjusted millage rates after reassessment and rolling forward to rates not to exceed the prior year's maximum. The estimated amount of tax revenue to be collected in the next year from the increased millage is $4,280,960.74, and the amount of increase in taxes attributable to the millage increase is $173,318.25. D. Lorraine for administration.
Thank you, Ms. Carleen. J, we've already done that. K, questions for the administration. Mr. Jones.
I got one. To the administration, since the reduction of hours worked by the employees, how much is the parish saving on each individual department?
We haven't even processed the first payroll yet. We just implemented it, so the first payroll hasn't been processed at this time.
Can we have that for the next meeting?
The legislative auditor has access to every item. On that, he made a list of things he wanted. He's got access to every item.
We sent the question. We want an answer at the meeting. Next question. Since we imposed a higher premium on the employees, how much saving did we save on the insurance?
That too that's right there in Munis. I don't know exactly what it is, but we'd have to look at it to break it down to the employees because we have the DA and everything included in the list.
Can we have that at the next meeting for a report? In Munis, the public don't see Munis. So I'd like to have it in the report for the next council meeting. Both questions. Thank you.
Mr. Perilou.
Yes, what was the date on that video that you showed earlier, Mr. Barnes, where the gentleman, I think his name was Mr. Ordorn? What was the date on that meeting?
It was 4/11/17.
Okay, I want to get his contact information and talk to him about how this whole thing developed with him having to purchase those culverts.
Mr. Ote, I'm gonna need you to take over the meeting. Is Mr. Ardon gonna be refunded for those?
Yes, I think he should be, and I think y'all agree that he should be, so we will
Does that have to
refund him.
come before council? Does that?
I don't know, Tommy.
No, that would just be refunding the fees
We just
paid.
refund him.
I would talk to the DA's office before I would do it. I mean, I'll get in touch with him.
Have there been any other residents that paid the parish for culvert to work?
I don't
That's under your administration, Mr. Jimmy?
No.
Okay, the library sent you guys some letters regarding removing money from their budget and also canceling their flood insurance. So first, let me get the easy one first. Was the libraries, all of Lafourche Parish Library's flood insurance canceled?
No,
It was not.
some were
Why were some canceled?
determined low-risk areas, like the one in Thibodeau, for instance, not the one in Choctaw, we didn't cancel that one, and I'm trying to think which ones I went over with Kerry last year, Kerry Babin.
Do we really have the authority to do that? Does the parish have the authority to do that? Because I know they've gotten a DA opinion last year when we removed money from their budget. The DA said we couldn't do that. Now money's been removed from their budget again, and flood insurance has been canceled. I think that's pretty risky, as inexpensive as flood insurance is, especially in a non-flood risk area. And they have requested from you all to return the money and to, y'all know which letters I'm talking about, return the money and to reinstate the flood insurance immediately.
We didn't take the money, when we made the budget, we had made across-the-board cuts of 10% throughout the parish.
Hadn't an AG ruled that you couldn't do that last year? Didn't they have an AG opinion on that, saying
Not
that
certain.
wasn't legal?
Not
Do you
certain.
recall?
No, I don't recall, I mean, it may be, I don't recall.
Yeah, can y'all check into that? And check into, I guess, why you're getting DA opinions if we have the authority, or if you guys have the authority to just go ahead and cancel that flood insurance. I mean, the library board is with the parish, but it still has its own board, and they're governed differently than, say, our civil service department or our recreation department. So I just think, and they think. Is someone from the library here? I know someone was supposed to come, and we must have tired them out. Okay, can the
We
administration?
can check into it, but we handle the risk management, just like, they're on our healthcare benefits too, so if they said they wanted different healthcare benefits, I don't know if they could have that or not also.
I think it's been ruled that they could, because last year or the year before last, when all the shenanigans were going on, I think they were gonna leave the parish healthcare. So I just think we need to, if you can check into that, because I've had three
I'll
of the
get with
board
Ms.
members
Laura
call me.
Sanders.
Okay. Mr. Jimmy, we need to have a town hall meeting in Magnolia Landing, if you could participate in that with Mr. Barnes and hopefully Gary Washington. Earlier I mentioned that ditch behind Magnolia Landing. This is the street right off of Waverly. I would like Mr. Jones to be there as well. These residents are really concerned not only with the existing flooding, because Magnolia subdivision was one, we could have lost the whole subdivision at some point when this water rushes in, when the pumps are turned on, after the rain stops. They're very concerned with the new development that's going to be in Councilman Jones's district, and rightfully so. And they're wanting to meet with the parish president, Public Works Director, their council members, as well as anyone else that would have some information on this. A few of them, I mentioned Mr. Washington, a few of them mentioned that they spoke to Washington and Mark, so I don't know if Mr. Washington and I don't know Mark's last name. Dufresne.
Mark Dufresne.
So is that a possibility, Mr. Jimmy? Have you done any town hall meetings, or?
No, it's a possibility, I need to just coordinate with the time to make sure, I
Okay.
can do it.
I know it'll have to be in the evening sometime, Mr. Jones. I don't know if you know of a fire station in your district. I know or someplace where we can meet. I don't know if
Probably
Mr.
could
Jimmy?
use the St. John fire station.
Okay. Mr. Barnes?
Yes, ma'am. Just to let the council know that I'm gonna be on vacation from the 20th to the 30th. And also, when Mr. Jimmy gets ready to set this meeting up, I'm gonna ask the engineer that is doing this new subdivision to be there,
Good idea.
because according to the plans and everything, that their retention pond is gonna be able to absorb some of this water. So I'm just getting this from the engineer, and so I'd like for them to be there and I'm gonna discuss it with them.
So you're saying it's a detention pond or a retention pond?
Retention.
I'm just saying, some of this other pond that's supposed to be a retention pond, it never empties, so it almost looks like a detention pond if there's,
No,
do you understand what I'm saying? That I don't think that thing works properly. So that's
No.
one of the other things that they want to
And
the one that's there.
I have to agree with you, because that was a poor design.
Well,
That
and
was-
that same builder is building all of the new development right in Mr. Jones's area, is that correct? Why would the parish, well, I guess this is not for this administration, but we got to be careful with what we're accepting.
Well, and we have got, we have a lot of meetings, with permits and plannings on these subdivisions that's coming up, to try to improve our drainage. Their, export of water does not exceed, their import. So it's gonna leave room in the retention pond. The one that's on the corner of
That's a
Waverly.
whole,
Yes, I'll agree. That pond, that retention pond right there was useless.
yep.
And when they accepted it, and our DPW guy at the time signed off on it, I have went and looked at it. It is ridiculous. We have no way. All it is just like what happened at Ranchland Trace. They used that last section right there as a retention pond. They widened the ditch. All it did was made a bigger hole at the ditch.
Right.
So-
So that's exactly what the problem is there. I don't know if there's something we can do to fix that, but,
It would cost a tremendous amount of money, but, Gary and I have been talking about it. Gary Washington and myself, if what we might could come up to make it come back from a detention pond to a retention pond.
I mean, you would agree that that neighborhood out of my district is most vulnerable, and it's not 2 houses. It's a couple hundred houses. I mean, it's a lot of houses, and what's coming up, we got to get ahead of this, or else we could have real serious problems in the future. Did you see that ditch that they dug, like in back of yours section, Jerry, on the other side of Waverly, that big deep ditch they dug down the length of?
Yeah, sure did. But in that area, you're gonna have about, with that subdivision and the one by Vista Apartment, about 300 more homes.
Right. Well, and they were concerned with how it was tied into some old system or something. I don't know. We just need after Mr. Bournes gets back, Mr. Jimmy, do you want me to get with Kelly or to try to set something up or check the
Definitely,
schedule?
yes.
All right.
And I will make a statement. Do not forget about the grant that we have coming up that, the Planis is working on to improve the drainage going to, Layton. I believe is that Layton right back behind there, Jerry? Isn't that Layton? Or
Yeah,
Movant?
it's Layton.
Layton. They're gonna be adding another pump, and they're gonna be improving the drainage. And I've been working with Heather.
But you know the situation with that particular neighborhood, there was no place to pump it.
Right. I mean, it
So
was
you
no
can
place.
add 15 pumps if there's no place to send the water.
Right. I totally agree. The detention pond should have been a retention pond. We inherited this problem, but, it ain't saying it's being swept under the rug. I have looked at several different ways and have discussed it, plenty of times. Just like Monday afternoon, going up there and trying to figure out some drainage problems. I mean, I continuously work on this.
Okay, well, the group wants to come to the council meeting. I talked to them about doing a town hall meeting first. I think that would be more appropriate, but I imagine we'll see more to them. Last thing is Terrio Boat Launch. Mr. Lasang, anything on that?
Still waiting on the permits. I mean, they say, Jennifer says that they're working on the permits and they're diligent is just the core, it's the core, huh? Not the EPA, right? Core. It's the core.
Okay, Mr. Jones?
Yeah, back a couple of years ago, I spoke to David Waite, and on that tree line, James Bourne, by Waverly, going back to Layton, he was kind of in favor of cutting a new canal going to the back. Maybe we can talk to him to see if he's still interested in that. That's getting that water from off of Waverly, Magnolia, and going back to Layton. So maybe we can look into that situation.
I'll be glad to look into it. He has never brought it to my attention. I've done had some conversation with him, but I will have it. We'll get with David.
Okay, Mr. Oten, I'll take back over the meeting.
And I'll leave my light on.
Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Oten.
Okay, thank you. First off, I want to thank James and Marie for pursuing the LaRose flood wall, which I asked every meeting for years now for updates. And in August, we had gotten an update that we would get a spec-in plan in 2 weeks. So last week, we got an update. They accepted fault for not advancing and told us that within, I think, another 2 weeks, we would get the plan and specs. And that's, James has been pushing for phase 2 and phase 3, which is a huge amount of money that's sitting there these residents have been waiting on. Once again, this is the project where they build the flood wall first, and then they do the drainage and the pump stations after, which makes absolutely no sense. So I thank y'all for continuing to pursue that. I did put a note on my calendar next Friday that hopefully, I know they keep saying 2 weeks, I've been saying that since last year, but anyway, I thank y'all for that. Secondly, I'm just wondering, Tommy, if you could answer, I know we had approved the hiring of All South for both the LaRose boat launch discussed earlier in Lockport. Have we engaged them yet, or that hasn't happened yet, or?
Didn't issue the notice to proceed, the resolutions signed and approved, and didn't issue the notice to proceed yet.
Good, good, I appreciate that. The last thing I do want to, with the administration is, I know we got an update on road sales tax District 2, that phase, which I, of course, will not be in support of, because the engineering fees we're going to be paying is more than the project money I'm getting, so I'm certainly going to be objecting to it. But one of the major items, and one of the highest ones identified, was actually Representative Trustclair came here, was getting that blacktop on Industrial Park Road, which you have all that traffic going to North American. It's not even on the list, certainly isn't in phase 1, it's not even in phase 2. When I rode around in the fall of 2016 with Ben, we identified that as being a priority. I know the representative came here, asked us, so I would certainly want to see that. I'm not asking for discussion on that now, I'm just making a general comment. But what I am going to say is that I don't know if you're aware, if you have noted, Nick, if you have noticed, but the bulkhead on the intercoastal, there was a new section that was placed at the top of by Lafourche. Well, just beyond that, where the old bulkhead's at, there's probably about 6-7 foot that's just washed out because there's missing boards now that's encroaching on that road. So if there's going to be a time to try to stop that, it's now. I would respectfully ask that y'all maybe look at it. But there's some huge washouts going into the intercoastal, just around the curve, if you follow me.
Armin, on the master list, it shows Chesterly Industrial Park Boulevard to the overpass.
So where it says Chesterly, my assumption was that's Chesterly, down Chesterly up to Industrial Park Road, like from Industrial Park Road down Chesterly to the overpass. In other words, why is it referencing Chesterly? Does that mean that is Industrial Park Road?
Yeah, and I'll clarify that a little bit better, and then it says from the overpass to Burgundy. And
Okay,
Burgundy
so
to the end.
So the one that's that 71,000 in phase 2 is what I'll be begging to be moved up to phase 1. Got you. I got it.
Can you state your name and address for the record, please?
No, I follow you. It's just the way it was worded. It looked like Chesterly, because we did go down Chesterly. There was some issues down there. And it actually says Chesterly overpass to Burgundy. So my assumption that if you look at this the way it says, it looks like you're talking about Chesterly to the overpass. Copy that. Understood.
Okay.
But so I appreciate that. Good, because that should be a high priority. But can you comment on the washout? Are you aware of it?
Well, I think Nick was going to comment on the washout, but I will tell you this. I met with Mr. Jimmy before the council meeting, and we discussed this, okay? And there's going to be some changes coming up, but we did have this conversation right before the council meeting.
Excellent. I appreciate it. And once again, if y'all can look at that washout, because I'm scared if we let it go, it's only going to get significantly worse with and I know I had been researching for a constituent, and I can't find any bank stabilization money, whether it's CPRE, it's just nobody has it, with all the engineers I've talked to in North Lafourche Levee District, et cetera. For some people that were left out, the South Lafourche Levee system on the South Bank Intercoastal, on the west side. So I've been unable to find it, so I'm hoping the parish can do something, because I don't know how else we stabilize that bank right there, but it's significant.
Nick Gidry, 6236 Highway 308 Lockport. Is that, this is the first I hear of that, is it, before you make the curve or afterwards?
Just past the new bulkhead that they did, and then it stops,
Correct.
and you have the wooden one, where
Uh-huh.
everybody pulls over, I guess, to fish and
To fish and
everything.
stuff.
There's a huge drop now right there. It wasn't there the last time I passed, so it may be something new, but there's a board missing on the
Okay.
wooden bulkhead that's gone.
We'll, go out and investigate it tomorrow, take pictures. I'll follow up with you.
Appreciate it.
The only other thing I want to add is I'm not sure what changed or what happened, James, but I know you did a lot of work or answered a lot of calls in my district, even on the weekend, so my residents that you called really appreciate it, so thank you. All right. L, council reports, presentation. Anyone? Oh, Mr. Lorraine, sorry, I didn't see you.
Yes, unfortunately, on March the 29th, the Galliana Bridge broke. The drum blew up. And it was, that afternoon, a lot of bad weather. We checked it out, but there was not much we could do at the time. Then the next day was Good Friday. Then you had Saturday and Sunday and Easter Sunday and Monday. But it was fixed for Saturday. And I'd like to thank Mr. Jimmy and Mr. Barnes and all the parish employees that went out there and took care of that. Luckily, we had an extra drum. They're not easy to find. And it had to be worked on, but they fixed it. I think there's a place in Florida that sells these winches or drums or whatever, so I think they're gonna look into getting an extra one and leaving it there at the barn in case this happens again, because this bridge keeps getting older and older and older, and that's what you're gonna get. So the point I really wanted to make was to thank them, because they went out on a Saturday and addressed this. And I'm sure the people were happy. And another thing I'd like to thank Mr. Cantrell, we did get to go to Baton Rouge and we addressed the committee concerning solid waste. We were addressing the committee concerning the rate, and it went to a sales tax debate. But according to a couple of people on the committee, they said that they think it should go back to a vote of the people to put back the 3/10 if that's where we go. And he said that, I said, well, it was already voted on in 1986. He said, well, a lot of people are deceased. I said, yep, there are a lot of people deceased, but I'm still living and I voted for it. And I stopped short of telling him, I didn't think about it at the time, but when I walked out of the room, I did think about it, was to let him know that, first of all, 6 months ago, they put a sales tax on the people of the whole state of Louisiana, and they didn't ask the people to vote for it. The legislature, they just did it. And it's still on. So what's the difference? My point is, whether it was in 86 or whatever, it was voted on by the people of Lafourche. And I can tell y'all, this thing keeps dragging and dragging and dragging. We're gonna have a critical problem, and not too long. Because there'll be no money except whatever you're generating on the 7/10 for next year. It's a shame that you had to use $3.5 million of BP money to go through in the Highway 90 landfill, when we could have taken that 3.5 mil and do some projects. Well, y'all do some projects. And so just think about it. It's not easy. And it's gonna be a problem. And I keep telling y'all that, but I'm the guy that y'all don't want to listen to, so that's fine. But just remember, you're going to have a critical problem coming up shortly on garbage.
I think we're all aware of that, Mr. Lorraine.
No, You wasn't even born when we passed the tax.
That is correct. I like you rolling back the clock for me, but,
I think the city of Thibodeau made the right choice.
yeah, I think you're right, Mr. Otem.
So the last thing I have is I just want to invite everybody out to Lockport Food Festival, April 20th, 21st, 22nd. Next weekend, I would strongly encourage y'all to come with a full wallet and enjoy some good food and buy some auction items and bring the kids to have rides. So nice family atmosphere down in Lockport. Thank y'all.
And I hope that's it. Okay, we did K, L, council reports, presentation, updates, and our questions. We got all of that. Any more discussion? Letter M. Can I get a motion to adjourn? Moved by Councilman Bourgeois, second by Perilou. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? See y'all.